Uchiha Madara's journey through the worlds. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1: Arrival in the New World. In a vast desert, Madara Uchiha, clad in red armor and clutching an Uchiha fan, opened his eyes. Countless memories, like fragments of paper, flitted through his mind. He understood. He had arrived in a new world. In the ninja realm, he had already absorbed the entire Ten Tails and obtained his own Rinnegan. But just as he was about to complete his Moon-Eye project and activate the infinite Tsukuyomi, a black hole suddenly appeared, transporting him to this new world. Though somewhat concerned about the unfinished Moon-Eye project, having arrived in a new world, Madara couldn't dwell on the past. He needed to quickly understand the situation. He placed his Uchiha fan behind him, closed his eyes, and attempted to mobilize and refine his chakra. He was not one to sit back and wait for death. Though worlds differed, they shared common principles. Regardless of strength or weakness, the law of the jungle prevailed. The strong prevailed. Whether he could refine chakra, the source of his original power, determined whether he could possess a certain level of capital from the outset of his existence in this world. Uchiha Madara focused his attention on his body. The moment he began to refine chakra, a vast amount of spiritual and physical energy merged within him, forming a vast amount of pure chakra in perfect proportion. The power of chakra still exists. Uchiha Madara nodded. This was probably good news. If he was right, this was because chakra was composed of the spiritual and physical energy within the body, rather than relying on external sources. After confirming that the chakra power was still usable, Uchiha Madara gradually refined a large amount of chakra at an astonishing speed. Uchiha Madara's lips curled slightly. This was the first time he had refined chakra since officially becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, and the speed of this chakra extraction far exceeded any previous time. As expected of the source of chakra in the ninja world, the Ten Tails, the fusion of the chakra of the nine-tailed beasts. This was exactly what he wanted. With such a terrifying chakra refining speed, in just a dozen seconds, Uchiha Madara had regained his full strength. After confirming that all his chakra-driven powers were still alive, he nodded with satisfaction. While he didn't mind starting from scratch, he hated the feeling of weakness. The feeling of being full of power, ready to fight at all costs, was what he most desired. After regaining his strength, Uchiha Madara closed his eyes again, sensing the auras of his surroundings. After becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, his perception range rivaled that of his old friend Uzumaki Mito from the Warring States period, who possessed the Kagura Mind Eye, reaching a radius of dozens of kilometers. As soon as he released his chakra, Uchiha Madara sensed the presence of numerous creatures, the closest of which was right beneath his feet. He crouched down, narrowed his eyes, and gathered the strength within him in his right hand. He then scooped into the sand. In a flash, his hand ripped open a khaki scorpion, which bared its fangs, and glared at him. But no matter what the scorpion thought, it couldn't escape Uchiha Madara's pincer-like grip. Madara carefully examined the scorpion before him. Though his perception had only been a fleeting glimpse, he had already discovered that all the creatures he sensed possessed a common power, a force he could even sense in the air. If he was right, this must be the source of this world's power system, where the energy is most concentrated. Here, grabbing the scorpion, Madara gently squeezed its head with his right index finger and thumb, releasing a round, shimmering yellow core. He flung the scorpion away with a flick of his right hand, then carefully examined the magic core before him. Although small, it contained considerable power, though not a significant amount. Perhaps he could test this world's power system to see if it would align with his own cultivation. With this thought, Madara placed the magic core in his mouth, and, with a gentle movement of his teeth, crushed it. The moment the magic core shattered, a violent burst of energy erupted. It was only a first-level magic core, but the Dou Qi contained within it was so violent that even a Dou master would be unable to utilize it directly. The proper way to use a magic core is for an alchemist to combine it with other herbs and refine it into an elixir, not simply consume it raw, as Uchiha Madara did. However, in Uchiha Madara's vocabulary, the word impossible was not an option. HMPH. Sensing the energy within the magic core raging through his body, Uchiha Madara snorted softly. Such a weak force. Did it dare to move about in his body? Immediately, a powerful force suppressed the Dou Qi within the magic core, and this force forcefully carried the Dou Qi within the magic core through a circuit through Uchiha Madara's meridians. After this circuit, the once violent Dou Qi instantly transformed into a gentle white Dou Qi, remaining obediently within Uchiha Madara's body. Then, Uchiha Madara exerted a sudden force, and the gaseous white Dou Qi was instantly refined. A vast amount of Dou Qi was drawn in, and the Dou Qi surrounding Uchiha Madara's body was compressed to his lower abdomen, transforming from pale white to milky white. The white Dou Qi still tried to resist, but this resistance was clearly futile against Uchiha Madara. After a brief stalemate, it reluctantly contracted. When it shrank to the size of a palm, the chaotic Dou Qi transformed into a well-ordered milky white vortex. A nebulous layer of milky white energy enveloped the vortex. Uchiha Madara wanted to continue compressing the milky white vortex, trying to see if it could be compressed into a liquid or gas, but the amount was too small to sustain further compression. With a thought, a strand of white gas separated from the milky white vortex and gathered in Uchiha Madara's right palm. Uchiha Madara slapped the desert beneath him, leaving a clear palm print. Is it already comparable to D-rank ninjutsu? Uchiha Madara didn't yet understand the power hierarchy of this world, so he could only apply it to the ninja world. Now, having just entered the Dou Qi realm, Uchiha Madara could exert power comparable to a ninja with the administrative rank of genin in the ninja world. Uchiha Madara closed his eyes and activated his perception again, covering the desert within a radius of several dozen kilometers. Although Uchiha Madara had initially gained the power of this world, his understanding of many aspects of it was still as blank as a blank slate. To further understand this world, he needed to find some intelligent beings. At this moment, about a kilometer away, there were approximately 30 life forms. Uchiha Madara suspected these were intelligent beings, as he had just sensed numerous such groups within a radius of several dozen kilometers. Such organized action made them highly likely to be intelligent. With this thought, Uchiha Madara's inner strength erupted, and he sped away like lightning, his red armor gleaming in the desert sun. Come on. Let him, Uchiha Madara, experience this world. The new book has a rich investment return, and the wealth code has been told to you, so don't miss it. In addition, the new book asks for recommendation tickets, collections, and monthly tickets. Those who have tickets can give to Chapter 2, Snake People in the Desert. The sun scorched the vast desert. In one spot, dozens of heavily armed snakemen, wielding poison-laced spears and piercing gazes, carefully surveyed the small area. Any creature not of the snakemen would be met with devastating slaughter. These small groups of snakemen weaved in and out of patrols, leaving a trail of swaying snake tails wherever they passed. These damned humans dared to so brazenly venture into the depths of the desert. If we catch them, we'll make them taste the pain of being devoured by 1,000 snakes. Braving the scorching sun, a snakeman who looked like a leader wiped sweat from his face and cursed. Captain, what's going on? Why is our tribe suddenly on alert? A snakeman asked, waving his tail and scanning the empty desert. Being dragged out to search the desert in the middle of the day was no easy task. Upon hearing this, the dozen or so nearby snakemen cast doubtful glances at the leader-like snakeman. Equally low in status, they too wanted to know the whole story. HMPH. What happened? Last night, a group of powerful humans forcibly broke through the charming snake tribe's defenses and advanced deep into the desert. According to intelligence from the charming snake tribe, that group of powerful humans included one Dou Huang, 3 Dou Huang, and several Dowling masters. The leading snakeman snorted with a sinister expression. 1 Dou Huang and 3 Dou Huang? Upon hearing this, the surrounding snakeman's expression suddenly changed. Was the human empire seeking war with them? With the exception of the temple where the queen resided, none of the 8 major tribes could stand alone against such a formidable force. All the snakemen tribes, big and small, have now entered a state of martial law. According to the information I've received, the leaders of the 8 major tribes have received orders from Her Majesty the Queen and are rushing to the temple in the center of the desert. They should arrive as soon as tonight. Speaking of Her Majesty the Queen, the leading snakemen's face radiated the devotion of a zealot. As long as 3 of the leaders can reach the temple, Her Majesty will order a comprehensive search. So what if they have Dou Huangs? Since they dare to challenge our snake men, we must teach them the truth of overestimating our own capabilities. The leading snake men sneered. Suddenly, the leading snake men spotted a figure in the distance, galloping towards them at a remarkable speed. Human presence detected. Prepare for battle, the leading snake men declared. Uchiha Madara, though not using chakra, could send a tailed beast flying with his sheer physical strength, and he ran at lightning speed. The moment the leading snake men saw him, Uchiha Madara was in front of the snake men group. What are you? Uchiha Madara frowned upon seeing the dozens of snake men before him. Is this world a world of beasts and orcs? Why were the first two creatures he encountered upon arriving in this world neither human? Such a situation would be absolutely impossible in the ninja world. The ninja world is ruled by ninjas, and only ninjas. The 9 strongest tailed beasts are nothing but 9 beasts before Uchiha Madara. In short, the current state of the world made him feel a little uneasy. How dare a fighter be so presumptuous here? Who gives you the courage? Let this human witness the terror of the snakeman. The leading snakeman was initially intimidated by Uchiha Madara's speed, but upon realizing that the fighting spirit within him was only at the level of a fighter, his confidence suddenly soared. He was a great fighter. How could the glow of a fighter's firefly compare to the radiance of the moon, the brilliant light of a great fighter? Uchiha Madara frowned upon hearing this. I'm asking you, where is this place? What exactly are you? What faction do you belong to? Go to hell, human. The leading snakeman ignored Uchiha Madara and instantly threw his spear. A piercing sound echoed, and the fighting spirit of master level fighter erupted, intending to kill Uchiha Madara with a single blow. Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed, his gaze becoming even more fierce. It seems you still don't understand. I'm not trying to negotiate with you. With that, Uchiha Madara instantly caught the snakeman's spear. A powerful force erupted in his hand, and in an instant, he hurled it at an even faster speed. The leading snakeman barely had time to react before his pupils constricted, before he was pierced through. A stream of blood instantly flowed from the leader's body, and countless scales cracked, staining it red with blood. Who are you? You're just a fighter. How can you possess such immense power? The leading snakeman exclaimed in horror. You can't even please me. Uchiha Madara wasted no time, instantly teleporting to the leading snakeman. His black eyes transformed into Scarlet Manjaki Sharingan, then into Rinnegan shimmering with purple ripples. His human path abilities instantly activated, forcibly reading the leader's soul. During the process, the leader's eyes turned white. Seeing their leader slain without resistance, the other snakemen scattered like birds and beasts. The leader is dead. Run. By then, Uchiha Madara had already finished reading the leader's soul. Spotting the fleeing snakemen, he aimed his right hand at them. A powerful gravitational pull erupted from his hand, instantly sucking them all in. Then, a powerful repulsive force erupted from Uchiha Madara's center. The moment it collided with the gravitational force, a tremendous tearing force was applied to the snakemen's bodies, instantly exploding into a bloody mist. Uchiha Madara glanced at the blood-stained desert, then withdrew his gaze, and began to digest the memories he had just received from the soul of the leading snake man. So that's how it was. A moment later, the corners of Uchiha Madara's mouth curled up slightly. He had finally understood what kind of world he was in. Chapter 3 Power System. This world is called the Dou Qi continent. The power of Dou Qi is the sole defining characteristic of this continent. Unlike the administrative ranks of ninjas in the ninja world, where there's no definitive standard for comparing strength, Dou Qi continent uses 3 criteria: cultivation methods, fighting skills, and realms to roughly determine a person's strength. First, cultivation methods. After statistical analysis, the people of Dou Qi continent categorize Dou Qi techniques into 4 levels and 12 grades, from high to low. These 4 grades are Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow. Each grade is further divided into beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels. The level of Dou Qi cultivation is crucial to future success. For example, someone practicing an intermediate mysterious grade technique will naturally be significantly stronger than someone practicing an advanced yellow grade technique of the same level. Secondly, fighting skills, as the name suggests, are the ability to unleash Dou Qi. Like Dou Qi techniques, they are divided into 4 levels: Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow. The higher the level of the fighting skill, the greater the power of Dou Qi that can be unleashed. Finally, realms are considered. The Dou Qi continent, excluding the foundational Dou Qi stages, divides the realms into 10 levels. Daoluo, Daoluo Master, Great Daoluo Master, Daoluo Spirit, Daoluo King, Daoluo Emperor, Daoluo Grandmaster, Daoluo Reverend, Daoluo Saint, and Daoluo Emperor. Within each level, there are further levels of 1 to 9 stars. Through the soul memories he had acquired, Uchiha Madara knew that, in terms of Dou Qi power alone, he was only at the lowest level of the 10 realms, the Daoluo, at 1 star. The snakeman he had just battled was a great Daoluo master, equally low in the 10 realms. If one considered his strength, one considered his status, he was probably only equivalent to a chunin or even a genin in the ninja world. Interesting, Uchiha Madara thought. He had no other hobbies but to fight against the strong. No one in the ninja world could satisfy him anymore. He wondered if there was a strong person in the Dou Qi continent who could rekindle the fire within him. This was the overview of the Dou Qi continent's power system that Uchiha Madara had obtained from the snakeman's soul. As for the Dou Qi continent's global power structure, due to the snakeman's limited knowledge, Uchiha Madara only grasped a vague overview and some information about his current location. Specifically, the Dou Qi continent, unlike the ninja world, is not dominated by humans, but rather a world of diverse races. While the human race possesses immense power, the various beast races are equally formidable, sharing vast territories with humanity. He currently resided in the Tagor Desert, the territory of the Snakemen. This tribe was led by the Snake Queen Medusa and 8 tribal leaders. All 8 tribal leaders had reached the Dou Huang realm, with Queen Medusa being a powerful Dou Huang, making them a formidable force. Beyond the Tagor Desert lay the human sphere of influence of the Gamma Empire. As for the specifics of the Gamma Empire, due to the Snakeman's low status, he lacked much knowledge. However, he did learn something from the Snakeman's soul. Just last night, a human group consisting of 1 Dou Huang, 3 Dou Huang, and several Dowling masters forced their way through the desert's outer reaches and into its depths. Their destination was the Serpent Man Temple, located approximately 80 kilometers from his current location. This meant that, if he also headed for the Serpent Man Temple, he would encounter several humans of higher status and gain a deeper understanding of this world. Dou Huang and Dou Huang masters? I wonder how strong they are. With this thought, Uchiha Madara formed hand seals, used earth escape, and dived underground. Underground, he stood calmly, eyes closed, but amidst the surging yellow sand, he moved at an incredible speed towards his destination. As the sun gradually set in the west, and as Uchiha Madara moved, a massive conflict unfolded in the Serpent Man capital. Hundreds of meters above the walls of the Serpent People's royal city, a massive magical beast hovered in midair. Several human figures hovered not far in front of the beast, emanating a terrifying aura. Serpent People spearmen, their eyes cold and serpentine, prepared to attack. But the figures slowly and steadily advanced towards the city, stopping moments later just outside the range of the Serpent People's spearmen. At the same time, 2 figures soared into the air from within the Serpent People's royal city. One was dark and burly, the other voluptuous and charming. These figures were Mobus, leader of the Serpent People's Black Snake tribe, and Yumi, leader of the Charm Snake tribe. Human, why have you trespassed into our territory without permission? If you do not wish to provoke a war between the Gamma Empire and the Serpent People, I advise you to leave immediately. Mobus's cold voice echoed in the sky. Haha, this must be Chief Mobus of the Black Snake tribe, right? A middle-aged man with an extraordinary demeanor slowly emerged from the crowd in the air in the distance, grinning. Who are you? Mobus, gently flapping his energy wings, swept his cold gaze over the middle-aged man and sneered. I'm Dou Qi, the middle-aged man said softly with a faint smile, ignoring Mobus's gaze. Upon hearing the name, a figure hidden in a crevice in the stone let out a long breath, trembled slightly, and then fell silent again. Dou Qi, the Dan King of the Gamma Empire? Yumi and Mobus were equally surprised at the name. Although the Serpent People rarely took powerful humans seriously, they could not help but respect alchemy masters like Dou Qi. They were well aware of the charisma that alchemy masters of Dou Qi's caliber possessed. My 2 leaders, I have made the bold move to come to the nobles, because I wish to discuss something with Queen Medusa. Could Her Majesty please appear and have a conversation? Dou Qi asked politely. To see Her Majesty? Sorry, I can't convey that request for you. Mobus shook his head, refusing without hesitation. He raised his eyelids slightly and said calmly, Dou Qi, you'd better take your men and leave as soon as possible. Men from the 8 tribes are already on their way. By then, even if you want to leave, I'm afraid you won't have the chance. Hearing this, Dou Qi glanced around the city, exhaled lightly, and then shouted, carried by his Dou Qi, across the city. Your Majesty, Queen Medusa, I'm Dou Qi of the Gamma Empire. I have not come here to start a war with the nobles, but I simply wish to discuss something with you. Please show yourself. Umedi and Mobus, perched atop the city wall, frowned slightly at Dou Qi's actions, but neither of them spoke to stop him. In this situation, it would indeed be better for Queen Medusa to intervene. Compared to the strength of the 2 Dou Kings, they, along with 1 Dou Huang and 3 Dou Kings, would be in dire straits if the enemy truly attempted to attack. The roar of shouts echoed through the city for a long time before gradually fading. High above the city walls, a region of space strangely warped. Seeing this, Dou Qi and his companions took a small step back, gazing solemnly at the warped space. Above, the afterglow of the setting sun streamed down, illuminating the warped space. The next moment, a graceful figure slowly emerged before the gazes of countless people. The suddenly appearing beautiful woman was clad in a gorgeous elegant purple brocade robe. Beneath it lay a voluptuous delicate figure, like a ripe peach, radiating a subtle allure. Her long black hair flowed carelessly from her shoulders, cascading down to her slender waist. A purple snake tail swayed gently beneath the brocade robe, emanating a savage allure. Your Majesty. Upon witnessing the alluring woman's appearance, countless snakemen on the city walls below immediately knelt, their respectful cries echoing in unison, piercing the heavens. Chapter 4. Earth Traveler Xiao Yan. Outside the Serpent Man Temple, watching Queen Medusa appear in the sky, Dou Qi involuntarily took a step closer to the silent black-robed figure beside him. Of their group, only she, a fellow Dou Huang, could possibly rival the infamous Queen Medusa, who commanded the Gamma Empire. You looking for me? Queen Medusa slowly lowered her head, her voluptuous red lips curling into a delicate curve. Her exquisite features instantly exuded a captivating aura, and her every frown and smile captivated the Dowling Masters standing beside Dou Qi. Under Queen Medusa's gentle gaze, Dou Qi took a deep breath, suppressing his excess emotions. He raised his head and looked at her. Your Majesty, it's an honor to meet you. I'm Dou Qi of the Gamma Empire. Dan King Dou Qi. I've heard of him. A 6th grade alchemist is truly extraordinary, capable of even summoning Dou Huang masters. Queen Medusa glanced at the mysterious black-robed figure and smiled. Tell me, Master Dou Qi, why have you invited so many friends and gone to so much trouble to come to my serpent people? What's the reason? Queen Medusa said, blinking her long lashes. Hearing the conversation return to the main topic, Dou Qi's face darkened, and he paused for a moment as he considered his next words. He knew that despite Queen Medusa's innocent smile, her strength was among the best among the Dou Huang level. During the war between the Serpent People and the Gamma Empire, if the Gamma Empire hadn't had 3 Dou Huangs, no one would have been able to defeat Queen Medusa. Exhaling slowly, Dou Qi raised his head to gaze at Queen Medusa in the sky, and said in a deep voice, Dou Qi has come here for the strange fire Her Majesty has obtained. Xiao Yan, lying on the ground amidst the rubble in the desert, breathed a sigh of relief. Wow, this fellow is here for the Azure Lotus Earth Core fire as well. Just as Xiao Yan sighed, the earth around him suddenly cracked, and Uchiha Madara emerged from the ground. The sudden sound made Xiao Yan shudder. Boy, what is this strange fire they're talking about? Uchiha Madara asked, looking at Xiao Yan, who was crouching in the rubble. Uchiha Madara had just arrived, and had intended to join the conversation directly in the sky, but as he passed by, he keenly sensed Xiao Yan's presence. After a brief look at Xiao Yan, Uchiha Madara noticed 2 things about him that intrigued him. First, there's a soul within Xiao Yan. Although this soul has been trying to hide itself since his emergence, how could it possibly hide it from Uchiha Madara? Second, he sensed a strange aura about Xiao Yan, reminiscent of encounters with Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke during the 4th Shinobi World War, an aura of being favored by the world. Uchiha Madara is now a 6 paths level expert, and his intuition has become almost prophetic, trusting his perceptions to be unerring. Upon seeing Uchiha Madara beside him, Xiao Yan's pupils were filled with shock. The phrase pupils shaking perfectly describes Xiao Yan's current state. Although Xiao Yan had arrived in the Dou Qi continent and spent over a decade there, how could he forget that he was actually a time traveler from Earth? With his signature spiky hair, the red armor, that was a stark contrast to the Dou Qi continent's style, and the distinctive Uchiha fan slung across his back. Wasn't this the Uchiha Madara from the manga Naruto he'd read in his past life? Why was he here? Xiao Yan instantly mobilized all his Dou Qi and mentally called out to Leo, seeking help. Xiao Yan didn't know from what period the current Uchiha Madara had traveled, but he knew that with his adult form, no matter from which period he'd traveled, he was no match for him. Only with Leo's help could he possibly protect himself. Are you relying on the soul within you? It just so happens that I'm more skilled in souls. If that soul appears, be careful, I'll dissipate it. I, Uchiha Madara, am not unreasonable. I ask you a question, you answer it, and you have no right to talk back. Noticing Xiao Yan's actions, Uchiha Madara said calmly, completely confident in his own strength. A hidden soul was like a fish, to be slaughtered by him, a master of Yindun and Yangdun. At the same time, Leo's soul spoke to Xiao Yan within his body. I sense a great threat from him. Xiao Yan, it's best you don't mess with him. Xiao Yan couldn't help but smile wryly. Uchiha Madara unleashed a fully formed Susanoo that stretched hundreds of meters. Even the strongest Dou Huang he had ever met was a mere minion before him. Furthermore, Xiao Yan knew that the words fear and concern simply didn't exist in the vocabulary of this man before him. The only thing he could do for him was to treat him with respect. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan quickly put on a smile and said, Madara-sama, my name is Xiao Yan. You're looking for me to know what the strange fire is, right? Uchiha Madara nodded, noticing Xiao Yan's friendly attitude. If Xiao Yan truly was a child of the world like Uzumaki Naruto, then he'd be worried about the potential risks of engaging with Xiao Yan. It was just like how he had clearly killed Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, yet they survived with the help of the Six Paths Sage and others. It was absurd. While he wasn't afraid of such troubles, he would have a clearer understanding of the world if a child of the world had been in his presence. Yes, tell me in detail what this strange fire is. If you can explain it well, I'll keep you safe today, Uchiha Madara said, glancing at the sky. He saw that Queen Medusa was also a proud and arrogant person, and this matter today would most likely not end well. Xiao Yan nodded. The man before him was a man of his word. Today, he was going to obtain the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire. With Uchiha Madara's help, his chances of success would surely increase. So Xiao Yan began to explain the strange fire. In this vast universe, there are some strange fires of heaven and earth. They may be flames carried by the center of fallen meteorites, or they may be lava fires that have been burning for thousands of years from volcanoes. These strange fires possess great power. Many people desire to control a strange fire, especially for alchemists like Koga. These strange fires are particularly precious. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara's face lit up with interest. He listened to Xiao Yan's explanation and summarized it briefly. These strange fires are various special and unique flames. The Uchiha clan loved nothing more than playing with fire. So Uchiha Madara was very curious about these special flames. They're fighting over a certain kind of exotic fire, right? Uchiha Madara asked. Yes, there are a total of 23 kinds of exotic fire on the exotic fire list, and the one they're fighting over now is the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire, ranked 19th on the list. Xiao Yan nodded. Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire, that's quite interesting, little one. I'll come find you again. Uchiha Madara left a message and stopped talking to Xiao Yan. With a burst of power, he slammed his feet against the ground and leaped into the sky with his body's strength. He was also very interested in exotic fire. Xiao Yan knew the entire plot of Naruto, which counted as a secondary setting for this article. There was no need to dwell on this. Knowing it would be much better than not knowing it, and it would create a sense of hierarchy. Finally, it was decided not to follow the plot for this book. Although writing with the plot would be much easier, it wasn't Uchiha Madara. Chapter 5 I'm here. to steal the strange fire. Watching Uchiha Madara depart, Xiao Yan took a deep breath. Regardless of why Uchiha Madara had appeared in this world like him, the most pressing matter for him right now was to subdue the Azure Lotus Earth Core fire. Xiao Yan. I couldn't quite make out that strangely dressed man, but his words didn't sound like lies. We must proceed with caution today, Yao Lao said within Xiao Yan's body. Xiao Yan took another deep breath and continued to calm himself. He was just a mere fighting master. Without Yao Lao's spirit protecting him, a single mistake would have resulted in his unending death in the midst of a clash between such powerful figures. I understand, Master. Xiao Yan shifted to another pile of rocks and continued to hide, waiting for his chance to strike. Meanwhile, above, the conversation between Queen Medusa and Dan King Dou Qi reached a fever pitch. Strange fire? Why do I have a strange fire in my hand? Where did you get this information? Queen Medusa's slender fingers gently stroked the light black hair across her forehead, a chill glint in her beautiful eyes. Half a year ago, I was searching for medicinal herbs in the desert when I happened to sense the presence of a strange fire. I tracked it down, but although I didn't find Her Majesty, I did pick up a few bloody rainbow-colored snake scales along the way. These scales are a unique form of the Queen's body that only appears when she's in full battle, and we've indeed detected the presence of a strange fire on them. Perhaps Her Majesty was injured by the strange fire when she took it away. Dou Qi whispered. Queen Medusa licked her rosy lips, her strange snake-like eyes fixed on Dou Qi, a chilling chill lingering in them. Sensing the hostility in Queen Medusa's eyes, Dou Qi retreated behind the black-robed men and said, Your Majesty, I have no ulterior motives. I'm sure you're well aware of the importance of strange fire to an alchemist. In search of this fire, I've scoured nearly every exotic location in the Gamma Empire. Serpent people's bloodlines are inherently cold and yin, so this strange fire wouldn't be of much use to your majesty. Therefore, I hope your majesty will allow me to trade something else for this strange fire. Exchange? A hint of sarcasm crossed Queen Medusa's eyes. As an alchemist, you naturally understand the power of strange fire better than I do. What do you think would be worth this? I'm willing to exchange 2 6th grade Dowling pills and 1 7th grade Huaxing pill for this strange fire. What do you think, your majesty? Dou Qi's expression changed with a rare touch, and he spoke with a hint of pain. Everyone present was startled by this. They hadn't expected Dou Qi to be so generous. The effect of a 6th grade Dowling pill is simple. It instantly boosts the Dou Huang powerhouse who consumes it by 1 star. That's right. At the Dou Huang level, the difference between each star is enormous. It's not uncommon for many Dou Huang powerhouses to remain stuck at a certain star level after years of painstaking cultivation. Countless people are willing to pay a huge price to obtain a Dowling pill. Compared to the 6th grade Dowling pill, the 7th grade transformation pill is even more astonishing. This pill is enough to drive countless Dou Huang level monsters into a frenzy. Once possessed, they can completely shed their beastly forms, possessing both the longevity of monster and the rapid cultivation talents of a human. The combined power of these two abilities can create a Daozong or even Daozun level powerhouse. Upon hearing this, everyone cast their anxious gazes upon the silent Queen Medusa, waiting for her to speak. High in the sky, under the gaze of countless eyes, Queen Medusa remained silent for a long moment before sighing softly. Her voluptuous red lips pursed, and her beautiful eyes gazed at Furukawa with regret. I have to admit, your offer is very tempting, but, sorry, I still won't trade with you. Furukawa sighed, his face slightly dejected. He knew that with Queen Medusa's strength, if she didn't want to trade the strange fire, they wouldn't be able to force her. Can you tell me why you're so determined to keep the strange fire? Furukawa said with a wry smile. Sorry, I can't. After a slight shake of her head, Queen Medusa waved her hand lazily, saying calmly, Master Furukawa, you should all go back to where you came from. As for compensation, there's no need. Hearing Queen Medusa's words, Furukawa turned his head and looked at his companions, his eyes filled with resignation. He was naturally reluctant to leave like this, but Queen Medusa was too powerful, and this was on her territory. If he forced his way, he feared the outcome would not be good. Dou Qi and his companions turned their gaze to the mysterious black-robed figure at the side. The final decision depended on this figure. I wonder what sect Master Yun means? Queen Medusa also fixed her gaze on the black-robed figure, waiting for him to speak. A moment later, the black-robed figure moved slightly, taking a slow step forward. A faint cold voice rang out. I once stumbled upon a piece of information about the Queen of the Serpent People in an ancient tome. It says that when Queen Medusa reaches the peak of Dou Huang, if the opportunity is right, she will undergo a remarkable evolution. Not only will she be able to freely transform into a human form, but her strength will naturally rise to the level of a Daozang powerhouse. This evolution requires a strange fire. I believe that Her Majesty's refusal to exchange the strange fire is probably due to this intention. Just as the black-robed figure spoke, a lightning-fast black-red figure suddenly shot up from below like a cannonball, striking Queen Medusa with a heavy punch. With a muffled thud, the enchanting Queen Medusa in midair disintegrated into a wisp of pale purple smoke, slowly rising and dissipating. A mere clone, what are you pretending to be? After blasting Queen Medusa's incarnation to pieces, Uchiha Madara stood in the sky, his arms folded. Strange patterns swirled rapidly within his crimson Manjaki Sharingan. With the Manjaki Sharingan's observational power, such a trick wouldn't be hidden from him. The black-robed man, Koga's group, and the snake Menumedi and Mobus were all stunned, somewhat bewildered by the sudden appearance of Uchiha Madara. A brief perceptive glance revealed that both sides could sense that Uchiha Madara's Dou Qi was only at the level of a 1-star fighter. However, both sides also knew that, whether it was the immense speed and strength he had just displayed, or the aura of towering insolence he now displayed, Uchiha Madara was far more than a 1-star fighter. Thank you for your help. Koga will definitely reward you handsomely in the future. But after a moment's pause, Koga immediately reacted. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara slowly turned his gaze to Koga, his inherent arrogance and indifference revealed without a trace. You seem to have misunderstood something. I'm here to steal the strange fire. Chapter 6 Everything is under control. As Uchiha Madara uttered these words, everyone's attention turned to his calm, unperturbed face. He was clearly facing powerful figures from both the Gamma Empire and the Serpent People, and had expressed his desire to seize the strange fire. Yet, to those on either side, Uchiha Madara remained unmoved, as if this were nothing more than a commonplace matter. Sir, we have a Dou Huang and 3 Dou Huang masters on our side. Please confirm your readiness to confront us. Seeing Uchiha Madara's expression unchanged, Dan King Koga's face darkened. This is Dan King Koga, the highest ranking alchemist in the Gamma Empire. If you make an enemy of a 6th grade alchemist, you will likely have no place in the entire Gamma Empire. Beside Dan King Koga, Lion King Yanshi, one of the Gamma Empire's 10 most powerful masters, shouted. What do you say? Uchiha Madara ignored the words of Dan King Koga and Lion King Yanshi, his gaze fixed solely on the mysterious black-robed figure. The wondrous patterns of his Manjaki Sharingan whirled at high speed as he spoke in a calm tone. Only the strongest were worthy of speaking with him. The mysterious black-robed figure, under Uchiha Madara's gaze, felt as if he were being seen through. His opinion of him immediately rose, and his vigilance heightened. I'm a friend of Dan King Koga. I've been entrusted by Dan King Koga to assist him in his quest for the Blue Lotus Earth Core Fire. If you insist on interfering, I'm afraid you'll have to get past me first. A cold, calm voice emanated from beneath the black robe. The mysterious black-robed figure stands clearly defined. Not bad, Uchiha Madara thought inwardly, but he remained calm as he gazed at the mysterious figure, as if pondering something. Most people's first impression of Uchiha Madara, due to his single-handed victory over the entire allied shinobi forces during the 4th Shinobi World War, is that he's overbearing, arrogant, powerful, and defiant, a killing machine born for the battlefield. But a deeper understanding reveals this. Even leaving aside the youthful Madara, filled with a pursuit of peace, love for his brother, and a naive vision of the future, and even considering the Uchiha Madara who, after the Battle of the Valley of the End, had been driven to destitution by harsh reality, Madara relished the thrill of battle, and never became a soulless machine driven by killing. While Madara possessed a pride ingrained in his blood and his actions might seem a bit mad, this didn't mean he was a madman, unruly, and unreasonable. Quite the contrary, he was driven by his own independent thinking, and a true visionary. Furthermore, due to the noble status of the Uchiha clan, Madara Uchiha, who remained in the fight, was generally easy to talk to. Just like how, in the late stages of the 4th Shinobi World War, when Ashirama Senju couldn't fight Madara because he had to deal with the Ten Tails, he asked Madara to wait, and Madara actually stopped and waited. However, while Madara Uchiha could be polite, if others treated him rudely, he would retaliate with even greater rudeness. If anything stood in his way, he would ruthlessly remove it. And now, having just arrived in the Dou Qi continent, Madara was eager to fight, which was understandable, but he also wanted to maximize his own benefits, while enjoying a thrilling battle. While the strange fire would undoubtedly fall into his hands, that didn't mean it couldn't fall into the hands of others along the way. Although he had spent decades, after mastering the Rinnegan, thoroughly understanding the essence of the main Jakida Jutsu, and mastering the ability to manipulate fire, such as Kagutsu Chi no Makoto, he had mastered the Kagutsu Chi technique. But Uchiha Madara was more cautious about his life than anyone else. Before personally engaging in combat, he might as well find a guinea pig to serve as his test subject. By learning from the guinea pig's process of absorbing the strange fire, he could further improve his chances of success. Beyond the actual battle itself, what was his ability that far surpassed everyone else present? It was his perception. His senses extended over a radius of dozens of kilometers. From what he could see, the people before him hadn't cultivated specialized perceptual combat techniques, relying solely on their vision and intuition. This meant that, no matter who ultimately wielded the strange fire, he could guarantee that they wouldn't be out of his range for a short period of time. Given this, he could simply enjoy the thrill of battle. The ultimate recipient of the strange fire would be none other than Dan King Furukawa, Queen Medusa, or Xiao Yan, the man they had just met, who was blessed by the aura of the world. With this thought, Uchiha Madara's resounding voice echoed, a wave of sound sweeping across the surroundings. Since that's the case, then challenge me to a duel here. The mysterious black-robed figure similarly let out a cold, delicate cry, exuding an imposing air of heroism. Guhi, Yanshi, Fengli, of similar status to Yanshi, one of the 10 most powerful men in the Jayamar Empire, with Dou Huang's strength, break in. Queen Medusa hasn't appeared yet, so this must be a crucial moment. She's extremely weak right now. If you want to obtain the strange fire, this is your only chance. As for this sudden appearance, I'll deal with him. Guhi frowned slightly, pondered for a moment, and then nodded. When it came time to act decisively, he wouldn't let a fleeting opportunity slip by over trivial moral issues. Old Lan, Fengli, let's go. Help me hold off Mobus and Yumei while I go into the city to search for the strange fire. With a sudden wave of his hand, Guhi decisively commanded. Yanshi and Fengli nodded, and then the three simultaneously unfurled their massive Dou Qi wings, tapped the air with their feet, and soared into the city. Uchiha Madara glanced at the three of them, before retracting his gaze, still staring intently at the black-robed figure before him, arms folded, ignoring him. Given your attitude just now, I thought you would have intervened to stop them. The mysterious black-robed figure's cold voice echoed again. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara smiled confidently. Haha, how do you know they won't be stopped? I'm not taking action simply because I have everything under control. Why don't you consider this possibility? Please vote for me. If you have extra votes, please cast 2. Chapter 7 Enjoy the fun of fighting. Upon hearing this, the mysterious black-robed figure glanced toward the city. At that moment, Yumei and Mobus, leaders of the Serpent Tribe, both Dou Huang powerhouses, were issuing orders to the countless guards on the city walls. Kill these humans. At Yumei and Mobus's command, a resounding roar echoed from the walls, the sound reaching the heavens. Countless Serpent Tribe members, clutching their poison spears, retreated slightly before suddenly charging forward. A sudden burst of power and inertia sent their poison spears soaring high into the air. Above, a black cloud of poison spears shot towards Guhi and his companions, who were attempting to enter the city. The sharp wind-piercing sound echoed, making one's ears ache. The mysterious black-robed figure's expression changed. Facing such a barrage of arrows, Guhi and his companions might be able to defend themselves, but they weren't sure they could enter the city. The black-robed figure waved his sleeve, and a massive tornado suddenly levitated before her. The cyan tornado spun at high speed, pulling at the billowing yellow sand from the ground. Then, the cyan tornado swept toward the overwhelming wave of poisonous spears. Furukawa and the other two, initially apprehensive, were about to unleash their own methods in battle, but upon seeing the black-robed figure's assistance, they breathed a sigh of relief and attempted to continue charging forward. But at that moment, Uchiha Madara struck. Without employing any of the 5 basic escape techniques, Madara clenched his right hand against the mysterious black-robed figure's Saiyan tornado. Unleashing the power of his Rinnegan, an invisible repulsive force erupted from Madara's right hand, radiating immense force towards the mysterious black-robed figure's Saiyan tornado. The repulsive force pierced the void and collided head-on with the Saiyan tornado. The next moment, the mysterious black-robed figure's powerful Saiyan tornado was violently snapped in half. Then, a billowing cloud of yellow sand fell from the sky, returning to the Tagor desert. Fighting me? Are you still distracted from supporting others? I think you should first consider how to escape from me. Fighting me without seriousness could result in death. I'm Uchiha Madara. Nothing can go back on your word. Uchiha Madara retracted his right arm, folding his arms across his chest once more, and glared coldly at the mysterious black-robed figure across from him. The effortless attack he had just launched was considered impressive in the ninja world. But if that was all he had, it was far from enough for Uchiha Madara. The mysterious black-robed figure looked at Uchiha Madara with a stern expression. He was only a 1-star fighter, but what was this domineering aura? The power to dissipate her attacks with a single wave of his hand? Such a strong sense of oppression. With this thought, the mysterious black-robed figure slowly lowered his black hood, revealing a stunningly beautiful, elegant, fair face amidst the raging sandstorm. Master of the Yunlan Sect, Yun Yun. Yun Yun's clear voice echoed, complimenting her beautiful face with a captivating charm. Uchiha Madara smiled. He had originally considered revealing the black-robed figure's true identity during the battle, if he remained so coy and evasive. But now it seemed this powerful woman understood manners better than he had imagined. The Yunlan Sect? He had a vague impression of it. Even the lowly snakeman remembered its existence. It was said to be the greatest sect in the Gamma Empire, immensely powerful. The Uchiha clan, Uchiha Madara said proudly. The Yunlan Sect was not a bad sect in this world, but in his heart, the Uchiha clan was his eternal faith. Yun Yun struggled to determine what faction the Uchiha clan belonged to. Uchiha Madara's utterly arrogant and self-assured demeanor reminiscent of the members of the great Zhongzhou sects she'd previously encountered. Yun Yun assumed the Uchiha clan had a long and illustrious history. But after a long pause, Yun Yun couldn't come up with any clear image of this Uchiha clan. When she looked up at Uchiha Madara again, he was already slowly reaching for the Uchiha fan behind him, his aura rising. Yun Yun immediately regained her composure, the Dou Qi in her Danshin mobilizing and filling her every limb. Her aura also rose steadily, and a sense of nobility and splendor instantly enveloped her. Before the battle, Yun Yun and Uchiha Madara locked eyes. That simple glance made Yun Yun sense a difference between Uchiha Madara and the other men around her. Madara's gaze wasn't like most men's. It held a deep desire, a deeply reprehensible quality. Uchiha Madara's gaze was more like wonder, a sigh of admiration for her powerful and unique personality. Deep within his gaze, a child's excitement, like that of a beloved toy, replaced it. Indeed, Madara had never been the type to lust after women, otherwise, he wouldn't have remained single for nearly 100 years in the Naruto world. Before Yun Yun could finish marveling at Uchiha Madara's gaze, Madara had already unsheathed a massive Uchiha fan in his right hand. He crouched down like a leopard, then, with a burst of power from his feet, soaring through the air, and charging towards Yun Yun like a tiger descending a mountain. The moment Madara moved, Yun Yun felt a powerful murderous aura envelop her. It was like being plunged into an endless sea of blood and corpses. The sticky blood and the scattered corpses tingled with nerves, causing even the resilient Yun Yun to tremble slightly. With this level of murderous aura, how many humans and beasts had this Uchiha Madara slain? Yun Yun struggled to shake off Uchiha Madara's murderous aura, and was about to sigh. But before she could, Uchiha Madara appeared before her. His perfectly symmetrical arms unleashed a powerful force, and a massive Uchiha fan instantly slammed down upon her. Yun Yun's pupils constricted, and the power of her Dou Qi erupted. A violent Saiyan tornado suddenly appeared before her, attempting to block Madara's attack. However, the moment the Saiyan tornado appeared, it strangely locked with Madara's fan, as if time had suddenly stopped Yun Yun's attack. A faint smile played on Madara's lips. Though the reason was unclear, the fan's power was still working. Uchiha abound. Madara's voice rang out, and the stagnant turbulent storm suddenly rushed in the opposite direction, striking Yun head on, and sending her crashing down from the sky. Standing in the sky, Uchiha Madara's Rinnegan retreated to the main Dou Sharingan, and then to the triple Magatama Sharingan. The previous clash had already confirmed this woman's strength. He could handle it with physical strength alone. If he wanted to enjoy the thrill of battle, this state was perfect for him. Then, like a cannonball, Uchiha Madara charged towards the spot in the desert where Yun had fallen. While Uchiha Madara reveled in the battle, the situation regarding the strife over the strange fire steadily developed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8, The Battle for the Strange Fire. Koga and his 3 companions were delighted to see Yun offering to help them block the swarm of poisonous spears, but Uchiha Madara intercepted them mid-flight, leaving them to deal with the swarm of poisonous spears filling the sky on their own. Koga opened and closed his palms, and pale blue flames instantly enveloped his body. His wings fluttered slightly, generating a turbulent current. His hands shifted into a unique position with lightning speed, and he whispered, "Blue flames raging." With this shout, pale blue flames suddenly appeared before him, scattering towards the poisonous spears with a wave of his hand. Upon contact, the spears were instantly reduced to nothingness by the intense heat. While not completely incinerating them, they had successfully cleared a path for Koga's path. Although his primary occupation was alchemy, Koga was also a Dou Huang, a formidable figure whose power should not be underestimated. Immediately, Koga soared towards the city. Hold still. Seeing Guhi's actions, the snakeman leaders Umedi and Emma Bays, atop the city wall, suddenly darted over, their faces grim, attempting to stop Guhi. They didn't know why the man who had suddenly shattered their queen's energy clone had engaged in a fight with a Dou Huang from the human ranks. But it certainly helped them immensely, otherwise, they would have been powerless against a Dou Huang. Their mission now was to intercept the remaining Dou Huang warriors, and prevent them from disturbing Queen Medusa, who was now in a critical situation. "Hey, we are your opponents." A fierce gust of wind blasted through the air, roaring and charging towards Umedi and Emma Bays. They quickly dodged the attack. But Yanxi and Fengli had already positioned themselves in front of Umedi and Emma Bays, smiling broadly as they intercepted them, preventing them from interfering with Guhi. Yumen is already cold. Serpentine eyes were now even colder. In a 2-on-2 Dowking battle, she and Mobus, combined, would be no less formidable than the two. But the problem was that there was also Dun King Guhi, also a Dowking. In the sky, Guhi was about to charge into the city when a fierce, perilous energy suddenly erupted from below. He fluttered his wings and quickly retreated, narrowly avoiding the incoming snake spear. Captain of the Medusa Serpent Guard, Uchiha, a woman's cold voice echoed as her graceful figure flashed over the city walls. The Medusa Serpent Guard was a special garrison within the Medusa Royal City, serving as Queen Medusa's personal guard. Their captain also possessed Dowking strength. The Dowking serpent people's heritage is truly profound. Guhi sighed with a hint of frustration as he measured the woman's strength as she suddenly appeared before him. Uchiha had no intention of chatting with Guhi. With one hand, she grabbed the sharp snake spear, and with a flick of her tail, she charged at Guhi with unparalleled ferocity. Guhi glanced at the battlefield around him. Yun was battling a mysterious warrior, while Yanxi and Fengli were battling the snake leader. Anyone who could help him was already trapped, leaving him with only himself to rely on. With that thought, Guhi pulled a red pill from his bosom, and his Dou Qi, battle key, instantly surged. The explosive key pill, which unleashed a burst of Dou Qi twice its strength, was powerful, but also had significant side effects. Using it would weaken the enemy for 3 days. However, Guhi had no time to hesitate. He didn't know how long it would take for Queen Medusa to successfully evolve. Seeing Guhi's aura surge, Uchiha, the leader of the Medusa Serpent Guard, took on a solemn expression. Her own strength wasn't great, so she could only resist for as long as she could. Immediately, Dou Qi and Uchiha engaged in battle. Meanwhile, in an unnoticed corner, a shadowy figure slipped in from outside the city walls. After dispatching a few weaker snakemen on the way, it sprinted into the city. "Teacher, can you sense the aura of the strange fire?" Xiao Yan asked anxiously. Battle was already raging outside. Xiao Yan had seen Dou Huangs before. Back in the Monster Mountain range, both the Amethyst-Winged Lion King and Yun Zhi were powerful Dou Huangs, and he had a clear understanding of their power. However, he knew Uchiha Madara's strength even better. If Uchiha Madara unleashed his full power, no Dou Huang could stop him. And Uchiha Madara also wanted the strange fire. If he intervened, after defeating the black-robed man, his chances of refining it would be virtually impossible. Queen Medusa is very cunning. I don't know how she's managed to split the aura of the strange fire into 4 parts. The 4 parts are located in the 4 corners of this city. If we search for them one by one, it will probably take an extremely long time, said Yao Leo. So what do we do now? Hearing this, Xiao Yan frowned and asked with a wry smile. Don't worry. Although her methods are quite sophisticated, I've been dealing with strange fire for many years, and I can still distinguish the subtle differences. The east is where the true strange fire lies, Yao Leo said with a smile. Hearing this, Xiao Yan breathed a sigh of relief and quickly used his flying fighting skills to rush eastward. Soon, Dou Qi, using the brief burst of power from the elixir, successfully defeated Uchiha and arrived in the city. Then, Dou Qi also faced a 4-choice decision. After a moment's hesitation, Dou Qi flew north of the temple. Clearly, Dou Qi had taken the wrong direction. Outside the city, Uchiha Madara sensed this and smiled. He knew that the world's favored one he had met at the beginning would most likely be the final winner. Otherwise, how could he be called the world's favored one? Uchiha Madara, with his vast perception range, had long known that there were 4 flames in the city. Without a true strange fire, he couldn't tell which was the true one. But when he first shattered Queen Medusa's energy form, Uchiha Madara had memorized her soul aura, so he followed it to the true location of the strange fire. It was clear who would possess the strange fire, and now he was ready to enjoy the battle. Uchiha Madara stood in the desert, his long spiky hair flowing in the wind, looking towards the crater, where Yun had fallen. There, the smoke and dust were gradually dissipating. Chapter 9, Fighting as an Art. As the smoke and dust enveloping Yun gradually dissipated, the crimson 3 Megatama Sharingan in Uchiha Madara's eyes slowly rotated, carefully surveying the front. The joy of battle was essential, but enjoying it didn't prevent him from also gaining something. From the snake man's soul, he knew that the strength of the people in this world was composed of 3 factors: realm, cultivation method, and fighting skills. And before him, possessing the Sharingan, the cultivation method, and fighting skills of anyone who fought him were no secrets. A Dou Huang powerhouse, currently the highest ranking powerhouse in the area surrounding his current location in the Gamma Empire. His cultivation method and fighting skills were of some reference value to Madara. At this moment, Yun's figure had fully emerged, her black robe tattered from the recent fall, so Yun simply tore it off to facilitate her battle. Yun wielded a strange radiant azure long sword. Her azure hair was tied into a regal phoenix-like pattern. Her face was strikingly beautiful, and her moon-white dress, wrapped around her delicate figure, made her appear alluring. Yun crouched slightly, her expression grave as she looked at Uchiha Madara. Though their previous exchange had been a casual one, she had already sensed his strength. Without employing any fighting spirit, Madara, relying solely on his physical strength and the power of his strange fan, powerfully deflected her attack. This overwhelming force made Yun feel as if she were fighting not a human, but a humanoid demonic beast. The next moment, Madara, holding the fan in his right hand, charged towards Yun at high speed. Although he was simply unleashing the power of his feet, his speed was terrifying. Yun's face rose. She saw Uchiha Madara was serious. Her bare hands formed a strange hand seal in front of her, and a gust of wind swept her away, putting distance between her and Madara. But to Yun's surprise, the distance between them didn't widen, but rather grew closer. After all, she excelled at wind-attributed fighting techniques that enhanced speed, making her one of the fastest among Dou Huangs. Yet, her attempts to distance herself from Madara were futile. Up until now, She hadn't sensed any trace of Dou Qi in Madara, relying solely on his physical strength. Could it be that Madara was truly a transformed demonic beast? If so, that made sense. A demonic beast could only successfully transform after reaching the 7th rank. Dou Huang, and the power Uchiha Madara displayed now was likely only possible with the ease of a 7th rank demonic beast. Upon realizing this, the solemnity on Yunlan's face deepened. Her movements became more fierce, and the Dou Qi within her body erupted, unleashing a new fighting technique. Wind dance. The space before Yunlan rippled slightly, and dozens of massive deep cyan wind blades, over 10 meters long, appeared out of thin air. They tangled together, forming a spiraling storm of wind blades, like a razor-strewn cylinder, swelling at high speed towards Uchiha Madara. Madara's expression shifted slightly. This attack was already more powerful than most wind-based ninjutsu in the ninja world. This world had indeed not disappointed him. Despite a slight sense of joy, Madara didn't slow his pace, continuing his rapid charge towards Yunlan, as if aiming directly at her wind-attributed fighting technique. Yunlan was slightly alarmed by this situation. Even Uchiha Madara, a Dou Huang powerhouse, wouldn't be able to withstand a direct attack from a frontal attack like her, even if he were a 7th level demon beast. What exactly was Uchiha Madara planning? The moment Uchiha Madara was exposed to the spiraling storm, he used his Uchiha fan to shield himself from the attack, moving his hands up and down. Then, he relaxed and spun 180 degrees, following the spiral's swelling force. The next moment, he flexed his Uchiha fan, sending a burst of cyan light emanating from it. Madara's fan struck the spiraling storm, and the recoil instantly flipped his body, landing on the desert sand, and sprinting at high speed. Madara's calm demeanor remained unchanged, as did his running form. However, Yunlan's spiraling storm was already left behind, sweeping away into the vast distance, carrying a cloud of yellow sand. This was Uchiha Madara. If combat is an art, then Uchiha Madara is the master of it. Dancing on the line between life and death, ultimately surpassing all expectations, is the art's highest and most intense climax. Yunlan was momentarily stunned upon witnessing this. The Dou Qi continent is not short of experts skilled in close combat, but those so-called close combat masters mostly rely on their own sturdy physiques and thick skin to charge headlong. Yunlan had never witnessed such a spectacular battle as that of Uchiha Madara. She couldn't imagine someone so agile. Faced with her powerful wind-splitting dance, a normal person's reaction would be to confront her head-on or evade. Yet, Uchiha Madara, standing before her, had actually used her wind-splitting dance to close the distance between them, and he himself remained unscathed. How could this be possible? How could anyone on the Dou Qi continent devote so much effort to their immediate reaction in combat? Yunlan was understandably surprised. To achieve the level of Uchiha Madara, one would likely need at least 10 to 20 years, or even longer, of training on the battlefield against numerous powerful opponents. With so much time on their hands, the people of the Dou Qi continent would be better off cultivating a couple of high-level fighting techniques, or raising their Dou Qi realm by a few stars. After all, the Dou Qi continent is a high-level plane where Dou Qi has flourished to its extreme. The fundamental components of strength here are realm, cultivation techniques, and fighting skills. So-called combat experience, however, is of little use in the face of overwhelming power. As Yunlan was startled, Uchiha Madara arrived, brandishing a massive Uchiha fan. He lashed down at her with relentless force from above. The piercing sound of the fan piercing the air echoed, demonstrating the immense power of his blows. At the same time, Madara's calm voice echoed, his casual tone making Yunlan feel like he was just strolling around his own home, not facing the fiercest and most dangerous battle. I don't know why you were distracted, but in a battle with me, distraction can cost you your life. Please recommend and add this to your collection. Please recommend and add this to your collection. Expected signing date, December 24th. Chapter 10, The Joy of Seeing Prey. Upon hearing this, Yunlan could tell Uchiha Madara wasn't joking. Yunlan's cyan lungs ward trembled rapidly, sending streams of cyan light shooting out, striking the Uchiha fan. Powerful impacts, one after another, met Uchiha Madara's gaze, but this wasn't over yet. Yunlan's cyan long sword trembled violently, a humming sound echoed, and a flash of profound light, barely the size of a thumb, instantly erupted. Wind's ultimate meteoric smash. A high-level Zuan level fighting technique. Concentrating immense power within a point roughly the size of a thumb, it was Yunlan's most powerful single target attack. Uchiha Madara, delighted by the sight of prey, his 3 Megatom Sharingan swirled rapidly. With a slight shift in his stance, every detail of Yunlan's Wind's ultimate meteoric smash was instantly revealed to Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara closely observed the entire process of Yunlan's Wind's ultimate meteoric smash, memorizing the combat techniques it embodied. Most of his moves were characterized by sweeping movements. Regardless of the world, increasing the size or energy input of a move to achieve a stronger effect is simple. However, focusing immense power into a single point is much more complex, requiring considerable skill and understanding. For Uchiha Madara, the only move he possessed that focused immense power into a single point or line, like the Wind's ultimate meteoric slash, was the Yunlan lightning style, thunder style. While the thunder style harnessed the power of thunder, this move harnessed the power of the wind. Therefore, this move held value for Madara. He was never one to reject others' techniques. On the contrary, possessing the Sharingan, he excelled at absorbing the experience of others, ultimately integrating the strengths of numerous schools to form a uniquely Uchiha Madara. Aided by the Sharingan's dynamic vision, Madara shifted slightly, successfully dodging the Wind's ultimate meteoric slash before it reached him. This attack possessed immense speed, making it unavoidable for ordinary people. However, Uchiha Madara was not among those who could not dodge it. First, Uchiha Madara possessed exceptionally high physical and neural speed, enabling him to execute swift maneuvers in a short period of time. Second, long before Yunlan unleashed Wind's ultimate meteoric slash, Uchiha Madara had detected it through his Sharingan and observed its entire release, meticulously analyzing its trajectory. Yunlan, surprised to discover that even her most powerful single target attack had been dodged by Uchiha Madara, remained expressionless. She formed a hand seal again, and Wind's ultimate meteoric slash, similarly maneuvering within a small radius, struck Uchiha Madara from behind. This move was unexpected, even for Uchiha Madara, whose perception of what lay behind him was often weaker than that of what lay ahead. The powerful Wind's ultimate meteoric slash slashed across Uchiha Madara's shoulder, severing it completely in one stroke. Blood spurted out, and Uchiha Madara leaped, temporarily distancing himself from Yunlan. Well done. Although one of his arms had been chopped off, a smile appeared on Uchiha Madara's face. It was as if the pain, far from frightening him, had instead served as a catalyst. And indeed it was. The pain made Uchiha Madara feel his presence more truly, and the joy of battle more tangibly. As for that arm, he wasn't fighting alone. He still had his Shirama. Uchiha Madara smiled softly, pressed his left hand against his chest, and immediately, the severed arm regenerated, whiter and more pristine, like a baby's skin. Yunlan, on her part, had breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing Feng Ziji Yunsha successfully sever Uchiha Madara's arm. But the smile on Uchiha Madara's face, his relaxed words, and the arm's regeneration, which had completely healed within a second of him standing still, only added to Yunlan's worries. With such a powerful regenerative ability, how could she defeat him? Her body wasn't that strong. If Uchiha Madara's physical recovery rate is rated at 10, then hers is probably only 1 at best. Furthermore, judging by his performance just now, Uchiha Madara's tolerance for error in battle is clearly superior to hers. If she continues, her chances of victory aren't completely lost, but they are pretty close. However, she's also entrusted with Koga's mission. Unless absolutely necessary, it's best to wait for Koga to emerge before escaping, otherwise he's likely to be lost. So, she can only hold out for as long as she can. With this in mind, Yunlan launched into action once again, unleashing a barrage of Zuan-level fighting techniques. Wind Spirit Fractal Sword, Sky Splitting Sword, Thousand Winds, Flying Catkin's Body Technique, Wind of Ultimate Falling Sun. From the lowest to the highest Zuan level, each fighting technique was unleashed, and the entire desert was engulfed in a boundless gust of wind, a feast of wind-attributed fighting techniques. Uchiha Madara grew increasingly excited with each fight, and the more he fought, the more he wanted to fight. He could already confirm that Yunlan, the leader of the Yunlan Sect, possessed a mastery of wind far superior to any other he had encountered in the ninja world. With the Sharingan in hand, Yunlan's wind-attributed fighting techniques were equivalent to his own, and her mastery of wind equaled his own. With every new technique Yunlan employed, every demonstration of her mastery of wind, Uchiha Madara gained a greater advantage. This was one reason why Uchiha Madara grew increasingly delighted as the fight progressed. Secondly, Yunlan's attacks were fierce and intense, making even dodging them without ninjutsu a challenge. Although he wasn't using his full potential, suppressing his own strength in the fight against Yunlan, this gave Uchiha Madara the unforgettable feeling of having met his match. In short, Uchiha Madara only hoped Yunlan would surprise him more. And as the fierce battle between Uchiha Madara and Yunlan intensified, the strange fire is also gradually falling into Xiao Yan's hands. First of all, thank you to all readers for your recommendation votes and monthly votes on January 23rd. The contract has been signed, but ranking second to last on the ZHU Shine Wuxen new books list is a bit too much. Although ZHU Shine Wuxen is a niche novel, unlike the popular light novels, we need to be more active in the niche genre. 3 updates a day, please vote, please vote. It just so happens that today, January 24th, is Monday, a new beginning. I took a look at the 90th place on the ZHU Shine new books list, and there are about 6 follow-up readers. Although our book is new, we have 20 follow-up readers. So let's hope that we can advance to 90th place on January 24th. Let's go. Chapter 11, Strange Fire Appears. Enveloped by Yao Leo's bone spirit cold fire, Xiao Yan successfully entered the lake teeming with the aura of strange fire. Dodging the pursuit of a dozen giant snakes, he arrived at an island within the lake. The island wasn't very large, but lush bamboo forests and a variety of flowers and plants filled the landscape, vibrant and beautiful. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Yan could already sense the presence of the strange fire hidden within the island. A fiery flame danced in Xiao Yan's dark eyes. He clenched his fists tightly and slipped lightly into the bamboo forest. He quickly reached the end of the path and found a spot to crouch and observe the situation ahead. At the end of the bamboo forest lay a small sunken pool, filled with crystal clear blue-white droplets and shrouded in white mist. This small pool instantly caught Xiao Yan's eye. This was the incomparably precious ice spirit cold spring, a tiny bottle of which he had once exchanged for a bottle of his companion purple crystal source. But here, the ice spirit cold spring actually filled an entire small pool. Was this Queen Medusa's handiwork? Xiao Yan's gaze slowly shifted, finally resting on a rising cyan flame in the center of the small pool. Upon seeing this flame, Xiao Yan's dark eyes ignited with a fervent desire. This was the Azure Lotus earth core fire he had longed for. Beside it lay the alluringly beautiful face of Queen Medusa. Facing this Dou Huang level powerhouse, Xiao Yan finally calmed down. He now relied entirely on Yao Leo's soul to perfectly conceal himself here. He must remain calm, for a moment of impatience can ruin a greater plan. Lowering himself to better conceal himself, Xiao Yan quietly observed Queen Medusa's next move. Beneath Queen Medusa's purple brocade robe, two snow-white wrists shone. Her delicate hands slowly formed several seals in front of her. The next moment, the Azure Lotus earth core fire blazed brightly, reaching the sky. The ice spirit cold spring in the small pool evaporated at a visible rate. Under the terrifying heat, Queen Medusa nibbled her red lips, her delicate hands slowly unbuttoning her brocade robe. Her flawless body, a masterpiece of nature, was now exposed naked in the bamboo forest. Her beautiful face shone with a touch of brilliance. Her long white neck curved gracefully. Her slender waist seemed barely sturdy enough to be held in one hand, yet it felt immensely powerful. Her flat, delicate belly was devoid of a trace of excess fat, and her wild, purple serpentine tail swayed gently, alluringly alluring. Letting her brocade robe fall to the ground, Queen Medusa stared determinedly at the Azure Lotus earth core fire. If she continued her cultivation by the rules, she knew how many years it would take her to reach the Daozang realm. This was her only way to quickly reach the Daozang realm. Queen Medusa slowly raised her gaze toward the violent energy fluctuations outside the city. If her evolution succeeded, she would bury all humans who arrived there today in the desert. The next moment, Queen Medusa let out a soft cry. formed several hand seals, and then her entire body glowed brightly. A giant purple snake, over 10 feet long, suddenly appeared above the island. Its massive body spiraled in the air, a rich purple light emanating from it, nearly enveloping the entire temple. Queen Medusa was setting up an energy barrier to prevent interference. Then, after circling several times, the purple snake emitted a crisp low hum and charged relentlessly toward the azure flames. The moment it entered the Azure Lotus earth core fire, Queen Medusa's shrill scream rang out, leaving a tingling sensation. The purple snake writhed wildly, its scales rapidly twisting, after entering the strange fire, charred and falling off in pieces. As the scales fell, crimson blood flowed out, but the terrifying heat of the strange fire instantly incinerated it into nothingness. A sizzling sound echoed, and the purple snake's body visibly shrank. At that moment, Queen Medusa let out a frantic shrill scream, the agony of the strange fire searing her body and soul. The sound echoed throughout the city. Xiao Yan watched in horror. The Azure Lotus earth core fire was truly terrifying, capable of forcing such a proud and powerful king to this point. Teacher, what should we do now? Xiao Yan frowned. We'll have to wait. The Azure Lotus earth core fire has been driven to a raging frenzy by Queen Medusa. Anything that approaches it will be incinerated, Yao Leo said helplessly. Hearing this, Xiao Yan could only wait patiently. Outside the temple, countless people also heard Queen Medusa's screams. Countless snakemen dodged onto the rooftops, staring in horror at the blazing purple light. Some tried to charge forward, but were held back by the fierce purple light. They anxiously watched the giant purple snake tumbling in the air. Above, Dou Qi, having strayed, was hurtling towards them at a rapid speed. He stopped just outside the purple light barrier, his hands unconsciously clenching. Queen Medusa had already begun to evolve, and he couldn't intervene now. Unless something unexpected happened, this strange fire wouldn't have much to do with him. Outside the city, Uchiha Madara and Yunlan, who were engaged in combat, heard the shrill screams. Uchiha Madara had already been battling Yunlan for some time. Yunlan had essentially unleashed every fighting skill she possessed on him, but she was still losing ground, her body covered in wounds. Uchiha Madara unleashed another attack, putting distance between them and Yunlan, watching her from afar. For him, not every battle was a life or death one. He had thoroughly enjoyed today's battle. Coincidentally, he was also intrigued by Queen Medusa's current evolutionary process and the power of this strange fire. Uchiha Madara used this as an excuse. I've thoroughly enjoyed fighting you, but now I have more important things to do. I must obtain this strange fire today. If you want to come with me, you're welcome, but you'd better keep those with you under control and prevent them from getting any unwanted ideas. I've never considered myself a kind person. Uchiha Madara said this, then he placed his Uchiha fan back on his back with his right hand, and leaped towards the source of the noise within the city. Yun smiled bitterly at this. She hadn't expected to survive today. If she had continued to fight Uchiha Madara, even if she had revealed all her cards, she would have been doomed by his terrifying combat awareness and recovery abilities. Moreover, Uchiha Madara clearly possessed other abilities. With this thought, Yun pulled another black robe from her ring, covering herself completely, and then set off towards the city. She wouldn't be able to obtain the strange fire, Dou Qi, today. But Dou Qi's existence was crucial to the Yunlan Sect. She had to get there. Chapter 12 Yunlan's Evaluation. Outside the purple barrier surrounding Queen Medusa's evolution, everyone in the city was drawn in by her shrill screams, and no one engaged in battle. Everyone knew that the outcome of today's events depended on Queen Medusa's successful evolution. If she succeeded, she would attain Dou Zhang's strength, and all the humans who attacked the serpent people today would be held captive. If she failed, the serpent people would be powerless, and the strange fire would fall to the humans. A gigantic purple snake writhed endlessly, its once massive body, covered in beautiful purple scales, now charred black. Its massive form gradually shrank from the burning strange fire, as if its energy was concentrating. A sharp sound of piercing the air was heard, and Uchiha Madara, who had already entered the city, quickly arrived. He found a rooftop and stood there, his Uchiha fan slung across his back. His crimson 3 Megatama Sharingan swirled rapidly, intently observing Queen Medusa's evolution. Uchiha Madara's attention was completely focused on Queen Medusa's evolution, and he paid no attention to the nearby Guhi, Yanshi, Fengli, and other serpent-kind Dou Huangs like Yumei, Mobus, and Huashena. Simply put, they weren't worthy of his attention. Guhi frowned. Uchiha Madara had just been battling Yunlan, a Dou Huang. Now, Uchiha Madara was there, but Yunlan wasn't. Just as Guhi was puzzled, Yunlan, clad in a black robe, soared through the sky, following closely behind Uchiha Madara, and landing beside him. Guhi was about to ask something, when he saw the scars on Yunlan's pretty face, hidden beneath the black robe. "Are you injured?" Guhi asked in surprise. As usual, Yunlan was a Dou Huang, and in the Jayamar Empire, there were more Dou Huangs than could be counted on one hand. Yet, Yunlan was severely injured, while Uchiha Madara seemed unharmed. Yunlan nodded, her voice cold and clear. "Don't mess with him. He's very powerful. If he hadn't shown mercy, I'd probably be dead today." "Guhi, I know you want the strange fire, but with him here, you'll never get it. If you still harbor hope and want to give it a try, don't blame me for not warning you." Guhi frowned even more, unable to resist asking. "He's so powerful, so he must be a Dou Huang 6-star or higher, right?" Yunlan was currently a 2-star Dou Huang. If she was being crushed by this mysterious powerhouse, then this mysterious powerhouse must be that powerful. 6-star Dou Huang. Yunlan couldn't help but smile bitterly. She had seen high-star Dou Huang masters before, but the power displayed by Uchiha Madara was beyond words. He hadn't used any Dou Qi, not a single ranged fighting technique, but after closing the distance, relying solely on his combat experience and physical strength, he had completely neutralized her. 6-star Dou Huang, maybe more than that. I suspect he's a Dou Zan. Upon hearing this, Guhi's pupils shrank. He nodded with a hint of disappointment, indicating his understanding. He then took out a bottle of pills and handed them to Yunlan. "This is a 5th grade healing pill, the restoration pill. Take it and heal your wounds. If Queen Medusa successfully evolves, we'll need you to escape." Yunlan nodded. Guhi was quite clever, not blinded by the strange fire. Yunlan took the pills, held the bottle in her left hand, poured one into her right, and swallowed it with a single movement. The restoration pill's effects began to take effect. Hidden beneath her black robe, Yunlan's injuries gradually healed, and the Dou Qi within her body gradually increased. Soon, she was back to her peak form. The power of a 5th grade pill was still very strong. After returning to her peak form, Yunlan's gaze inevitably turned to Uchiha Madara. From her position, she was behind and to the side of him, so from her perspective, she could only see his profile. Uchiha Madara had returned to his folded arms position, his back perfectly straight, emanating a unique aura. His face was fixed on the evolving Queen Medusa. Although Yunlan couldn't see his eyes, she could clearly sense his seriousness and focus. During battle, he was focused on the battle, his face beaming. Now, focused on other matters, his face radiating calmness. Yunlan had never met a man like Uchiha Madara. She felt like a child, brimming with curiosity, yet appearing to be completely indifferent. This naivete, born of his own strength, made Yunlan want to get to know him better. After a moment's thought, Yunlan shook her head and turned her gaze towards the evolving Queen Medusa. Queen Medusa's cries remained high-pitched, her serpentine body tumbling endlessly within the Azure Lotus earth core fire, a startling sight for Yunlan. Queen Medusa is a high-star Dou Huang, with far more experience than she possesses. Yet, this Azure Lotus earth core fire can force Queen Medusa into this state. If it were her, she would undoubtedly struggle to withstand it. Yunlan also wondered if Queen Medusa could successfully evolve. Time slipped by, and in the blink of an eye, nearly half an hour had passed. Queen Medusa, still in the process of evolving, had reached the final stage. "Thank you, Lord Shangshizi, for your 100 coin reward. You're the top reward for this book. Remember you. 3 chapters a day, so I'll break them at the right places, so this chapter is only 1,700 words. I'm also begging for votes, both recommendations and monthly tickets. Rewards would be greatly appreciated. Everyone has been incredibly supportive. Yesterday, we were last on the All Heavens New Books ranking. Our original goal was 90th place, but we shot straight to 80th. However, due to traffic issues, Napeng helped us switch to a light novel channel. So, we are currently 96th on the light novel new books ranking and the signed authors ranking. My goal is to reach 90th place tomorrow. Come on. Chapter 13, Strange Visions of Heaven and Earth. Half an hour later, Queen Medusa's massive body had ceased its tumbling, shrinking to 1/5 of its original size. She lay motionless within the Blue Lotus Earth core fire, allowing it to incinerate her continuously. Beyond the purple curtain of light, countless snakemen stood on the surrounding rooftops, staring blankly at the swirling cyan flames. A mournful hissing echoed throughout the city, and a melancholy atmosphere enveloped this most sacred city of the snakemen. Failed. Koga sighed softly. Had Queen Medusa, once a source of immense trouble for the Gamma Empire's high command, fallen in this manner? It was truly dramatic. Everyone sighed, but one person stood out, Uchiha Madara. The others had little observational skills, and any comments they made were merely amateurish observations. But Uchiha Madara, who had been using his Sharingan the entire time, had observed clearly the immense energy, combined with the strange fire known as the Blue Lotus Earth core fire, was gradually converging towards a single point within the snake's body. Although the outer layer of the snake had completely charred black, the vitality emanating from that point was indeed growing stronger, as if a new power was brewing. The ripples of the purple samsara rai flickered in Uchiha Madara's eyes. At the same time, he could sense the gradual transformation of Queen Medusa's soul aura, a qualitative shift. If he was not mistaken, Queen Medusa had successfully evolved. However, this success might not be detected until the transformation was complete. This didn't take long. A moment later, Uchiha Madara sensed that Queen Medusa's soul aura had completely transformed into another. It was at this moment that Uchiha Madara suddenly sensed movement in the sky and looked up. The previously clear sky suddenly darkened considerably. Dark clouds, seemingly from nowhere, slowly enveloped the sky. A rumbling sound emanated from within the clouds, and silver lightning slithered through them like serpents, creating a terrifying sight. A strange phenomenon in the universe. Uchiha Madara was slightly surprised. In the ninja world, only one being's arrival was accompanied by a strange phenomenon in the universe, and that was the Ten Tails, which currently resided within him. While the Ten Tails lacked a will of its own, its power was unrivaled in the ninja world. While he didn't yet know the current strength of the Daozang, Daozun, Daosheng, and Dao of the Dou Qi continent, he didn't believe the Ten Tails' power could rival that of any other tailed beast. Could it be that Queen Medusa, after evolving, had the potential to rival the Ten Tails? At this thought, Uchiha Madara's eyes lit up with a new level of interest. He still needed to search for the answer to his conjecture, but his interest in this world only grew. At this thought, Uchiha Madara heard a voice nearby. It was the head of the Yunlan Sect he had just battled. Uchiha activated his perception and listened quietly. I once read an ancient tome that recorded that in ancient times, when legendary beasts were born or advanced, the disharmony of their immense energies caused strange phenomena. These legendary beasts were extremely powerful, and the best among them were even comparable to powerful humans at the level of Daozun or Daosheng. There are only a few of these legendary beasts left on the Dou Qi continent. Judging from the current situation, the strange phenomena are most likely caused by Queen Medusa evolving into such a legendary beast. Yun's cold voice echoed. So, if she evolved successfully, do we need to retreat? Dou Hui's hesitant voice followed. Let's wait. Even if she did evolve, she must have suffered significant damage after being burned in the strange fire for so long. Finding a quiet place to recuperate would be the wisest option for her. Yun paused, then spoke calmly. Okay. Dou Hui's response concluded the conversation, and Uchiha Madara's attention returned. Does she have the potential to reach Daosheng? If every Daosheng possessed the power of the Ten Tails, then the battles against them would be incredibly exciting. Uchiha Madara thought, his dark eyes gleaming brightly. At that moment, a tremendous roar suddenly erupted from Dark Cloud City, and the sky and earth suddenly illuminated. A massive streak of silver lightning shot down from the clouds, piercing through the purple ceiling like curtain, and slamming fiercely into the Azure Lotus Earth core fire. The silver lightning arrived and vanished even faster. Before the intense roar of thunder had completely faded from everyone's ears, the dark clouds in the sky rapidly receded. The next moment, the blazing, bright sunlight once again enveloped the city. Under the lightning strike, a faint green mist seeped out from the island, obscuring everyone's vision. Uchiha Madara's brows furrowed slightly at the same time. This green mist was the product of the violent collision between thunder and strange fire. Impeded by this green mist, even he could no longer see through the purple light curtain. Now, even he could only wait and see. The azure mist wasn't very large, and should dissipate soon. Wait for it to slowly dissipate. Yunlan and Dou Qi thought the same thing. Dou Qi gradually surged within them, ready to retreat at any moment. Judging from the situation, Queen Medusa must have successfully evolved. If Queen Medusa had successfully evolved and returned to her peak form, then they must flee. With this thought, Yunlan's gaze shifted again to the towering Uchiha Madara. It seemed to her that Uchiha Madara had no intention of retreating. Was he planning a head-on confrontation with the evolved Queen Medusa? She couldn't do that. But if it were Uchiha Madara? Thinking back to their recent battle, Yunlan wasn't sure. Furthermore, from her initial understanding of Uchiha Madara's personality, he certainly seemed like someone who would do such a thing. But if that were the case, they could still escape safely. Everyone's attention was focused, ready to take their next action, based on Queen Medusa's situation. At this moment, the true situation of Queen Medusa, only Xiao Yan, who has been hiding in the purple light curtain, can detect it. Chapter 14 Colorful Snake. Xiao Yan, on his side, had taken cover behind a boulder as the thunder struck. But the immense force of the lightning shattered the rock into pieces. Had it not been for Yao Lao's intervention, Xiao Yan would have likely perished instantly. What a terrifying lightning strike. Rising from the ground, Xiao Yan looked at the now barren island with a gasp of cold air, then slowly walked towards its center. In the center, the Azure Lotus Earth core fire had returned from its raging state to its original state, hovering quietly in mid-air, constantly shifting its form. Beneath the strange fire, on the ground, a giant, charred snake lay motionless, seemingly dead. Failure? Xiao Yan wondered, sighing softly. A Dou Huang master vanished like smoke. Never mind, let's collect the strange fire. Xiao Yan stepped around the giant snake's corpse, and arrived beneath the strange fire, about to ask Yao Lao how to tame it. But then, a slight crackling sound suddenly erupted from behind Xiao Yan. The sudden sound made Xiao Yan shudder, and he turned his head to look at the source of the sound. Instantly, Xiao Yan's pupils shrank to the size of pinholes, and he was extremely nervous. As Xiao Yan watched, the charred skin of the giant snake, which had previously collapsed stiffly on the ground, slowly peeled off. The speed of the shedding gradually increased, and it seemed as if something within the giant snake was about to burst out. A moment later, the giant snake on the ground suddenly exploded, and its pitch black scales flew everywhere, and the giant snake body instantly turned to powder. At the same time, a vast and terrifying aura suddenly released, enveloping the city at an astonishing speed. Have you succeeded, Your Majesty? Sensing a faint sense of familiarity in this aura, countless snake people were stunned for a moment, then their faces were filled with ecstasy, and earth-shaking cheers suddenly resounded through the sky. At the moment this vast aura erupted, Dou Qi's face suddenly changed drastically, and his body instinctively retreated dozens of meters. Hurry, Queen Medusa has evolved. Furikor shouted to Yunlan. At that moment, Uchiha Madara turned to glance at Furikor, his crimson 3 Megatama Sharingan fixed upon him. A sea of blood and corpses enveloped him. Furikor felt as if he were in a blood-red world, terrified beyond words. Even Queen Medusa's thoughts faded to the background. Uchiha Madara withdrew his gaze, the crimson 3 Megatama Sharingan slowly fading. What a coward. He lacks the courage to draw his sword against a powerful opponent. Just this Uandan king. If he were an alchemist, he would have achieved the title of Dansheng. Uchiha Madara continued to gaze at the purple curtain. While the aura was terrifying, he could clearly sense the waning of power within it. Uchiha Madara's perception was correct. After bursting forth, the aura dissipated in just 10 seconds, like the receding tide. Uchiha Madara sighed. He had thought he could challenge the evolved Queen Medusa, but now it seemed he had no chance. Others, like Koga, breathed a sigh of relief. He had nearly been frightened earlier. As the aura vanished, the cheers of countless snakemen in the city abruptly ceased. All of them stood stunned, their hearts filled with anxiety and anticipation. Uchiha Madara glanced at the purple curtain of light. It was growing dimmer and dimmer, and it must be nearing its end. Now, all he had to do was wait for it to dissipate. From within the curtain, a multicolored light suddenly shot out, a sharp sound piercing the wind, and it hurtled towards Xiao Yan. Bang! At the critical moment, Leo took over Xiao Yan's body. A deep white bone spirit cold fire suddenly erupted from Xiao Yan's body, its scorching heat distorting the surrounding air. Squeak. As if sensing the overwhelming power of the azure flames, the colorful light and shadow that shot towards Xiao Yan suddenly stopped outside the bone spirit cold fire. The transition between extreme movement and stillness was seamless and natural. Xiao Yan's heart felt like it was on a roller coaster, a moment of utter terror. But once the light and shadow's body came into his sight, he couldn't help but observe it. It was a slender snake, only about 2 centimeters long, covered in tiny colorful scales. Its lavender eyes were eerie, exuding elegance and nobility. The snake hovered in front of Xiao Yan. Its lavender pupils lacked the captivating murderous aura of its original form, Queen Medusa. Instead, they appeared pure and innocent, gazing at Xiao Yan with a pitiful look. Her body is rainbow colored, her pupils slightly purple, her body exudes fragrance, and her power reaches heaven. This is the hallmark. I never thought Queen Medusa would evolve into the legendary Seven-Colored Sky Swallowing Python, an ancient beast said to rival a Dou Sheng, Leo muttered. On par with a Dou Sheng. Xiao Yan was somewhat surprised. This harmless pretty little snake was a future ancient beast capable of rivaling a Dou Sheng. Teacher, if she is Queen Medusa, why can't I sense her killing intent? Why not try removing the bone spirit cold fire? Xiao Yan's eyes locked with the snake's, seeing only the curiosity of a newborn baby. Alright, be careful. Leo hesitated before nodding. The azure flames surrounding Xiao Yan quickly vanished. The colorful snake blinked its crystal clear eyes, and with a flick of its tail, it hovered towards Xiao Yan. After circling a few times, the colorful snake landed above Xiao Yan's palm. Its glittering eyes gazed with a hint of greed at the storage ring on his finger. It raised its head and let out a few soft hisses, as if to be coquettish. Xiao Yan flicked the ring with his finger, and he could tell the snake was interested in something within. Patiently, Xiao Yan tried each item. A moment later, as he pulled out a jade bottle filled with purple liquid, the colorful snake instantly appeared above it. Its tiny tongue dipped into the bottle, licking it vigorously several times. Interested in the companion purple crystal source, Xiao Yan felt a pang of pain as he watched the 10th of the companion purple crystal source disappear from his hand. The Seven-Colored Sky Swallowing Python is also a fire-attributed beast. Naturally, it would be interested in something like the purple crystal source, imbued with pure fire energy. Leo's nervousness faded, and he spoke with a touch of relief. Xiao Yan looked at the colorful snake. After absorbing the accompanying purple crystal source, Xiao Yan keenly sensed that the snake's eyes had become less wary. So, Xiao Yan cautiously extended his palm and gently stroked the colorful snake's petite body. The colorful snake twisted slightly, but instead of avoiding, it twisted its head and rubbed Xiao Yan's palm coquettishly. Suddenly, an idea came to Xiao Yan's mind. I woke up and jumped from 96th to 67th on the new book list of contracted authors in the light novel category. This is something I didn't expect. Let's try to stay in the top 70 today. And if you want to contribute to the Easter egg chapter, please do so. Just post a picture in the reader circle. It'll be a great bonus to give readers some experience points. And please recommend, please vote, please add to my collection. Thank you to everyone who voted yesterday. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Being Provoked. Xiao Yan's idea was simple. He wanted to keep the Seven-Colored Sky Swallowing Python close to him. The Seven-Colored Sky Swallowing Python was an ancient beast with limitless potential. Harnessing it for his own benefit would be no less powerful than mastering a strange fire. But then, Leo's voice sounded a warning. The Seven-Colored Sky Swallowing Python will indeed be formidable once it grows up. However, it's only in its juvenile stage. While it possesses immense power, it will take countless years of training to fully unleash it. And you must understand, no matter how docile this seven-colored sky swallowing python may be now, its true form is still Queen Medusa. Once Queen Medusa regains her memories, with her pride and ruthlessness, she might kill anyone who dares to take advantage of her position. Xiao Yan frowned at this. He was an adventurous man. The seven-colored sky swallowing python was like a newborn baby, showing no hostility towards him. Otherwise, it wouldn't have immediately appeared, clinging to him in search of food. And an ancient beast that could one day rival a Dou Sheng held a fatal attraction for him. Teacher, I want to take a gamble, Xiao Yan said. You'd better think it over carefully, Yao Lao warned again. For a future superhero, what's the harm in taking a gamble? If the situation you described really comes to pass, don't you still have me? Xiao Yan smiled. Well, I hope you won't play with fire and get burned, Yao Lao said with a wry smile, a tacit agreement. Xiao Yan smiled at this, and placed the colorful snake in front of him. At the same time, Xiao Yan flicked his finger on his storage ring, and a bottle of companion purple crystal sauce appeared in his palm. Xiao Yan took out a small white jade stick, dipped it in a few drops of the companion purple crystal sauce, and gently placed it in front of the colorful snake, shaking it. At the sight of the purple crystal sauce, the colorful snake's eyes suddenly brightened, and the human-like confusion quickly disappeared. It looked at Xiao Yan expectantly with its tongue lolling out. At that moment, Xiao Yan's lips curled up into a smile. Regardless of the unknown existence of Queen Medusa's soul, at least the current colorful sky-swallowing python was unable to resist the temptation of the purple crystal sauce. Xiao Yan ripped the purple crystal sauce into the snake's mouth, and it smacked its lips in satisfaction. A moment later, the colorful snake's tail entwined with Xiao Yan's wrist, slipped into his sleeve, and gradually fell into a deep sleep. Haha. Xiao Yan laughed heartily at the seven-colored sky-swallowing python's actions. With the help of the accompanying purple crystal sauce, his relationship with the seven-colored sky-swallowing python was rapidly becoming close. At this rate, Xiao Yan was confident that he could cultivate a strong bond before she matured. Although his face was barely concealing the joy on his face, Xiao Yan knew that the priority now was to subdue the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire. Xiao Yan took a few steps forward, gazing at the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire in midair, and asked, Teacher, how do we subdue this Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire now? Subduing a strange fire isn't easy. It will incinerate everything that comes near. Aside from some special items, the only way is to forcibly envelop it with endless Dou Qi and carry it away. But that consumes a tremendous amount of Dou Qi. Even if you mobilize all the Dou Qi in your cyclone right now, you won't be able to move it from this island, Yao Lao pondered. Then what should we do? Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan's face suddenly fell, and he asked with some resignation. Haha, have you forgotten the Azure Lotus seat you once obtained? The Azure Lotus seat and the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire are of the same lineage. Using it to hold the latter will not only suppress the aura of the strange fire, preventing it from escaping, but it's also far safer than simply enveloping it with Dou Qi, Yao Lao said with a chuckle. Xiao Yan's expression instantly brightened. He flicked his finger on the storage ring, and the gently rotating Azure Lotus seat hovered before him. Xiao Yan, holding the Azure Lotus seat in his palm, gently tossed the strange fire in midair. As the seat reached the base of the strange fire, a faint azure light emanated, quietly enveloping the Azure Lotus's core fire. The azure shield slowly shrank, and the strange fire fell back into the lotus's core without offering the slightest resistance. Xiao Yan's taming of the strange fire was remarkably smooth. Leave this city immediately, and find a quiet place to devour the strange fire. Don't store the strange fire in your storage ring, or everything inside will be incinerated, Yao Lao warned gravely. Xiao Yan nodded, his body trembling slightly. Using his flying fighting technique, his purple cloud wings instantly launched forth. Xiao Yan stared solemnly at the fading purple shield. It flickered, finally dissolving into a sky filled with tiny purple dots. As the shield burst, Xiao Yan stomped his foot onto the ground, his body shooting out, clutching the Azure Lotus, and desperately dashing towards the city's edge. Outside, 5 minutes before the purple light curtain shattered, the two serpentman leaders, Yumei and Mobus, had already been commanding their people to form a subtle encirclement. They were stalling for time. They couldn't defeat the Dou Huang masters, but once the 8 tribal leaders arrived, they wouldn't be much of a threat. Retreat, Dou Qi, Yun urged. Dou Qi felt a little reluctant. He hadn't yet secured the most important item, and he felt a pang of reluctance to retreat. But he had no choice but to retreat now. Whether it was the gathered leaders of the 8 serpentman tribes or the mysterious master, they could all threaten his life. Retreat. Dou Qi gritted his teeth. Yun nodded, and a surge of wind attributed Dou Qi instantly erupted, carrying Dou Qi and the others swiftly into the sky and out of the city. In an instant, apart from the unseen Xiao Yan, the only human left in the city was Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara glanced around, noticing the serpentman forming a circle, ready to take him in. But who was he? Uchiha Madara. Single-handedly taking on a group was commonplace for Madara. So, Uchiha Madara paid no heed, his gaze fixed intently on the purple curtain of light. But a moment later, a male snake man, shrouded in red Dou Qi, streaked down from the sky like lightning. His gaze swept through the air before finally settling on Uchiha Madara with a stern expression. Damn human. How dare you enter my clan's holy city? The man was quite fiery, and upon catching sight of Uchiha Madara, his furious roar echoed across the city. Simultaneously, the red Dou Qi within him surged violently, resembling a fiery figure. Yun and the others, who had already fled outside the city, instantly recognized the newcomer. This guy's Yanxi, leader of the Flame Snake tribe, one of the 8 great tribes. Although he has an extremely fiery temper, his strength is among the strongest of the 8 leaders. During the war between the Serpent People and the Gamma Empire, many powerful members of the empire died at his hands. Fortunately, he arrived early, otherwise he would have been a very formidable opponent, said Yanxi, a Dou Huang among Dou Qi's group. Right now, all the pressure is on that mysterious powerful individual. Let's wait and see. The leaders of the 8 great tribes should all arrive soon, and both sides will likely suffer losses. Then, we can reap the benefits. Dou Qi glanced at the sky and spoke. Yun, on the other hand, gazed at Uchiha Madara, who stood silently in the distance. She doubted that he could be trapped here. The light barrier is about to break, Yun said. Yumei and Mobus were overjoyed to see Yanxi arrive. They quickly scurried over to Yanxi's side and whispered to him, detailing what had happened. Listening to Yumei and Mobus' words with a face filled with anger, the fiery red fighting spirit in Yanxi's body became more and more intense. Finally, he clenched his fists and stared at Uchiha Madara with his eyes fixed, emitting unparalleled murderous intent. Human bastard, today's humiliation must be washed away with your blood. After hearing this, Uchiha Madara turned to look at Yanxi. After sensing Yanxi's weakness, the corners of his mouth curled up, and then he couldn't help laughing. Ha 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 ha. The laughter became more and more unbridled, and Madara's laughter echoed throughout the entire city. After laughing, Uchiha Madara's expression turned cold, and he glanced at Yanxi with contempt. Although Madara's position was relatively low, his imposing aura made people feel that he was standing at the top, making people feel inferior unconsciously. You can try. Chapter 16, Banman makes fire. Simple, direct, and domineering. This was Uchiha Madara. He folded his arms across his chest, emanating an air of dominance that instantly intimidated all the snakemen present. A moment later, Yanxi came to his senses. He had actually felt intimidated by a human. This was simply unforgivable. Yanxi's fiery fighting spirit erupted once more, ready to attack Uchiha Madara. Yumei and Mobus reacted quickly, each pinning Yanxi down on either side. He was just evenly matched with a Dou Huang. You're no match for him alone. Wait until the others arrive, or until you find the queen. Though Yanxi's fury surged, he knew he stood no chance against a Dou Huang, so he gritted his teeth and nodded. Uchiha Madara sneered, adding fuel to Yanxi's anger. Why? Go ahead and do it. Come and please me to your heart's content. These pointed words, coupled with the inherent arrogance and disdain emanating from Uchiha Madara, instantly created a mocking effect. Yanxi's rage instantly surged, his fiery fighting spirit igniting. Calm down, calm down. A little impatience can ruin a great plan. Yumei and Mobasi, observing nearby, hurried to counsel, holding Yansei tightly. HMPH, Uchiha Madara snorted. Seems like he's just a cowardly scoundrel who's good at talking. At that moment, a purple curtain of light flickered briefly before exploding. Tiny fragments of energy showered the sky. As the purple curtain shattered, even though the cyan smoke hadn't yet dissipated, Uchiha Madara's full perception was fully activated, instantly catching sight of Xiao Yan slipping out from behind the curtain. Uchiha Madara chuckled. He knew that such children of this world could often accomplish incredible things despite their humble status. But he wanted to see what kind of favor this child of this world enjoyed. Watching the countless snakemen before him, shouting for the queen, and attempting to enter the island, Uchiha Madara raised his hands, a surge of chakra erupting, and a powerful wood release force instantly descended upon the city. Towering wooden walls suddenly rose from Uchiha Madara's side, reaching tens of meters in a flash. The wooden walls extended in both directions, centered around Uchiha Madara, completely isolating Queen Medusa's temple from the rest of the city. It's just wood. One snakeman roared, unleashing his full Dou Qi, and striking the wooden wall with a fist, intending to shatter it. The result left the snakeman speechless. His full strength punch barely created a shallow dent. This was no wood at all. Even ordinary rock wouldn't withstand his blow. Seeing this, Yansei frowned, his Dou Qi erupting. Suddenly, crimson flames engulfed his fists as he charged towards the wooden wall. His fists were incredibly powerful. A single strike could likely crush a Dowling warrior to death. Yansei was confident, believing that fire conquers wood. His fists would undoubtedly shatter the wood. However, Yansei's flaming fists only left charred marks on the wooden wall, failing to completely penetrate it. How is that possible? Yansei exclaimed in astonishment, withdrawing his fists. Most of the rock in the Gamma Empire was probably no match for the wood before him. Uchiha Madara calmly watched Yansei's assault on his wood style, a look of amusement on his face. Hashirama's wood style was impervious to even his fire style. Hashirama's wood held an immense vitality, its strength and resilience far exceeding that of ordinary wood. To think that such an attack could break Hashirama's wood style was a pipe dream. Yansei turned to Uchiha Madara and said, "You are now facing the entire snake people, human. Are you sure you want to be my entire snake people's enemy?" Upon learning that Uchiha Madara was a Dou Huang, Yansei took a more serious look. Upon hearing this, Uchiha Madara chuckled with disdain. "I think you might have misunderstood something. It's not me who should decide whether to make an enemy of you, the snake people, but you, the snake people, who should decide whether to make an enemy of me." Uchiha Madara formed hand seals with his hands, and fire chakra continuously surged from every cell in his body, gradually converging at his throat. "You're good with fire, huh? Let me teach you how to use it." Fire chakra. Great fire extinguishing. Uchiha Madara's hands flew, and in an instant, the hand seals were completed. A powerful fire chakra, with unparalleled power and endless subsequent flames, took shape. The sky was dyed a crimson of flames, and a boundless sea of fire engulfed all the snake people. All snake people of the snake people, find shelter and protect yourselves. This battle is not for you to participate in. High in the sky, Yumei, sensing the immense power of Uchiha Madara's fire chakra, her expression suddenly changed, and she made hasty arrangements. Countless snakemen, each with eyes, saw the terrifying sea of fire bearing down on them, and leaped from rooftop to rooftop, seeking shelter in sturdy well-sealed areas. Meanwhile, 3 Dou Huangs, Yumei, Mobus, and Yansei, soared high in midair, their Dou Qi transformed into wings, observing the devastating scene unfolding across the city. Houses struck by the great fire extinguishing were reduced to ash in an instant. Snakemen struck by the great fire extinguishing were also reduced to charred masses in an instant. The snakemen's capital city suddenly became a living hell. "Damn it," Yansei cursed, clashing his fists fiercely. "Let's wear him down first. A Dou Huang's Dou Qi is finite, after all. Sustaining such a massive attack would surely consume him greatly." Yumei, observing Uchiha Madara wielding the great fire extinguishing, was shocked and said with a hint of resignation. Outside the city, Furukawa and the other Dou Huangs were also astonished. After all, none of the current Dou Huangs in the Gamma Empire specialized in fire attributed Dou Qi. Master Yun, thank goodness you reminded me just now, otherwise it would have been a real hassle to face a formidable warrior like him, said Dou Qi. But this guy doesn't seem to be very smart. Fighting the snake people in their base camp, and using such a costly move for a bunch of small soldiers. The 8 leaders of the snake people are on their way. Once he and the snake people are both defeated, it will be our opportunity. Yun couldn't help but smile bitterly. Just now, Uchiha Madara had fought her and suppressed her with only basic physical strength. She had no idea Uchiha Madara had such a skill. And who knew what other abilities he might have hidden? This man who suddenly appeared seemed to be shrouded in a mysterious cloud. Happy New Year everyone. Please vote for me. Chapter 17 Light and Darkness and Trust. If you may, Mobus, Yan Ci, and other snake men Dou Huangs, having witnessed Uchiha Madara's great fire extinguishing, were at the first level. Then human Dou Huangs like Dou Qi, Yan Shi, and Feng Li, who knew Yun couldn't defeat Uchiha Madara either, were at the second level. And Yun, having personally experienced fighting Uchiha Madara, was at the third level. But Uchiha Madara's mysteries went far beyond this. From the towering wooden wall, Xiao Yan slowly poked his head out, cautiously observing the situation outside. Originally, Xiao Yan had immediately used his flying fighting technique, Purple Cloud Wings, the moment the purple light barrier shattered, intending to escape in the chaos. However, Uchiha Madara's sudden wood release nearly sent Xiao Yan carelessly careening into the wall. Unaware of the situation outside, Xiao Yan carefully climbed to the highest point of the wooden wall to observe the situation outside. The sight of Uchiha Madara single-handedly declaring war on countless snake men, and the unparalleled might of the great fire extinguishing, rekindled Xiao Yan's memories of Earth from over a decade earlier. If Xiao Yan remembered correctly, Uchiha Madara's first appearance was also a high-profile confrontation with the allied ninja army. Xiao Yan touched the wooden wall beneath him, and could guess that it was Uchiha Madara's wood release. The ability to use wood release meant that the current Uchiha Madara was at least the one who had Hashirama cells transplanted after the Valley of the End period. Combined with the repulsive force Uchiha Madara initially experienced outside the city, this Uchiha Madara had at least awakened his Samsara. It was unknown whether this current Uchiha Madara had become the Ten Tails Jinkriki. A fire attribute move of this strength is already incredibly powerful, and considering his nonchalant demeanor, coupled with the sense of threat I felt when I met him before, Xiao Yan, if possible, avoid making an enemy of this person. I'm only in spirit form now. Even if I could defeat him, I'm afraid my soul would be dormant, Yao Lao warned. Xiao Yan nodded, understanding the point without Yao Lao's reminder. Although he had never seen a Daozang, he didn't believe Samsara Madara was weaker than a Daozang. At that moment, Xiao Yan and Yao Lao's expressions changed simultaneously. A voice echoed in their ears. Xiao Yan, right? I know you've obtained the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire. Don't deny it. The aura of the flame in your hand can't be hidden from me. The voice paused, then continued. I must obtain the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire you hold. There's no doubt about that. I've never refined a strange fire, so I'll let you be my guinea pig and refine it first. Don't worry about dividing it. I'm capable of it. Uchiha Madara's calm voice echoed, and Xiao Yan's throat suddenly felt dry and tense. Of course, you can choose to refuse me, but be prepared to become my enemy if you do. If you do, I'll seize the strange fire from you, and won't spare your life. Hearing these words, cold sweat broke out on Xiao Yan's forehead. Within Xiao Yan's body, Yao Lao wanted to ask Xiao Yan for his consent, but he was afraid that his words would be sensed by Uchiha Madara's soul, so he could only wait anxiously. It's an honor to work with Madara-sama, Xiao Yan said. Wise man, Uchiha Madara's final words echoed, and he stopped telepathically transmitting to Xiao Yan. After feeling the pressure dissipate, Xiao Yan's back was completely drenched in sweat. The pressure of communicating with Uchiha Madara was immense. Xiao Yan had always considered Uchiha Madara the most intimidating boss in Naruto. Xiao Yan, it's a good thing you agreed just now, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to escape today. I underestimated this man's ability to telepathically transmit across such a distance, Yao Lao said with a hint of relief. Xiao Yan smoothed his chest and nodded. While telepathy was indeed possible, Xiao Yan suspected it wasn't the proper form of telepathy in the Dou Qi continent. He remembered the secret technique of the Yamanaka clan in Naruto being able to do this. Given that this ability didn't require bloodline, it wasn't surprising that Uchiha Madara had mastered it during his decades of absence. Teacher, let's wait. We shouldn't have to worry about safety anymore. Xiao Yan crouched on the high wall, looking down at Uchiha Madara on the ground. Although Uchiha Madara was somewhat domineering, due to the pride of the Uchiha clan in his blood, he was also a man of his word. Since Uchiha Madara had promised to keep him safe, his safety would definitely be guaranteed. Xiao Yan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief at this thought. In fact, when he first met Uchiha Madara, Xiao Yan's anxiety far outweighed any other emotions. But now that he had established a preliminary partnership with Uchiha Madara, Xiao Yan felt more at ease. He even trusted Uchiha Madara more than Yaoleo and Xiaozuna. The reason was simple. For both Yaoleo and Xiaozuna, Xiao Yan was the one in the open, while they were the ones keeping the secrets. Yaoleo and Xiaozuna knew Xiao Yan's upbringing intimately, but Xiao Yan was unaware of some of their secrets. But facing Uchiha Madara was different. With Uchiha Madara, the situation was precisely the opposite. Uchiha Madara was in the open, while Xiao Yan remained in the shadows. Xiao Yan knew what Uchiha Madara was like as a teenager, as a young adult, his life experiences, and his entire emotional journey. Furthermore, Uchiha Madara's appearance posed a crucial secret. He was a time traveler from Earth. Therefore, Xiao Yan trusted Uchiha Madara deeply, feeling like meeting an old friend in a foreign land. Uchiha Madara, on the other hand, was quite satisfied with his conversation. As a child of the world, Xiao Yan must possess many valuable resources, and would undoubtedly encounter numerous opportunities in the future. Most importantly, children of the world typically encounter numerous challenges. His greatest joy was battling powerful opponents of all kinds. Uchiha Madara ceased his chakra output with the fire-style Great Fire Annihilation. Now that the matter of the strange fire had been settled, a magnificent battle ensued. The ground of the entire Serpent Clan's royal city was now a charred black. Uchiha Madara drew his Uchiha fan from behind and faced 1, 10, 100, or 1,000 snake men. His feet moved faster and faster, until they became a trail of after images, charging head on. Round 2. Begin. PS. 3 updates a day. Please recommend. Please vote. Please vote. Please vote, my friends. Happy little new year to all my friends in the south. Chapter 18. 1 against 1,000. Uchiha Madara's speed grew faster and faster, covering dozens of meters in a flash, edging further and further away from the snake men's gathering. The famous saying, even if there are thousands of enemies, I will still advance, truly captured Madara's current situation. Seeing Uchiha Madara charging the snake men, Yumei, Mobus, Yansei, and the others in the sky, were delighted rather than surprised. Even if he's a Dou Huang, so what? A Dou Huang possesses a much greater amount of Dou Qi, but he definitely can't withstand a siege by thousands of snake men. Since he's willing to walk into this trap, let's grant his wish. Yansei said coldly, his pupils fixed. Yumei glanced at the sky, watching 2 figures grow larger and clearer from small black dots, and nodded. 2 more tribal leaders have arrived. If nothing unexpected happens, all late tribal leaders will be here soon. But we now have 5 Dou Huangs, and we're already capable of unleashing the secret technique, the 5 snake poison seal. Let's wear him down for a while, and then we'll attack. Mobus and Yansei nodded, agreeing with Yumei's opinion. Uchiha Madara, clutching a massive Uchiha fan, had already rushed into the snake men's concentration, walking like a trap. But Uchiha Madara was no mere fish on the chopping block, but a true hunter. He slashed horizontally, slashed sideways, sliced downward, smashed straight down. The fan seemed to possess a soul in his hands, constantly taking the lives of snake men in a variety of ways. Not only the fan, but every part of his body became his weapon in close combat. Punches, elbows, kicks, knees. Every blow delivered a powerful blow. Every blow from above would knock a snake men unconscious, their fate unknown. And every blow from the front, back, left, and right would inevitably send a snake men flying dozens of meters, their fate also unknown. In just a few breaths, Dozens of snake men perished at Madara's hands. Yet, his movements remained incredibly fluid, coherent, and artistically pleasing. Two snake man Dou Huang had arrived by then. Standing beside Yumedi and the other two, they listened to the entire story. Watching Uchiha Madara's rampage, a faint glint of bloodlust flickered in their eyes. This human is no easy task. His close quarters combat prowess shows at a glance that he's no greenhouse flower, but a man tempered in countless battles of blood and fire. Unless he's killed, he'll be hard pressed to stop fighting. I'd rather deal with the group outside the city than someone like him. He excels in close combat, and every strike is a sure kill blow. If you're not able to react, you'll be killed instantly. Unlike others who prefer ranged combat, which gives you time to react, one of the two newly arrived snake man Dou Huang observed for a moment and commented. And he's a Dou Huang, which makes things even more difficult. The other snake man Dou Huang added. Let's continue to monitor the situation. With Her Majesty the Queen missing, we have no choice but to take on the responsibility. Otherwise, our snake man tribe will be vulnerable to everyone, Yumedi said. The other snake men Dou Huangs nodded and continued watching. Koga and the others had lost count of how many times they had been amazed by Uchiha Madara today, each one gasping in awe after witnessing his magnificent close combat. Only Yan, who had witnessed Uchiha Madara's close combat prowess before, fared better. Even so, surprise shone in Yan's beautiful eyes. Her battle with Uchiha Madara had been one-on-one. But his current battle with the snake men was a one-on-one battle of 1,000. Though she was a Dou Huang, the visuals of Uchiha Madara's current battle far surpassed his own. The unwavering continuity was unbroken, as if Uchiha Madara was born for the stage of large-scale combat. If Uchiha Madara attacked the Yunlan Sect, she wasn't sure who would win the battle between Yunshan and Uchiha Madara. Could the Yunlan Sect be annihilated by Uchiha Madara? Yun shook her head, quickly discarding the dangerous idea. It was too ominous. Uchiha Madara had no grudges against the Yunlan Sect, so why would he attack the Yunlan Sect? That was impossible. As for Xiao Yan, who was currently crouching in a VIP seat on the wooden wall, he sighed in awe. 1,000 versus 1 even though Uchiha Madara had performed such feats before. Xiao Yan couldn't help but be astonished when he actually witnessed this scene. Especially from his perch dozens of meters above, with a panoramic view of the entire battlefield. In Xiao Yan's vision, countless snakemen formed a circle around Uchiha Madara. But this circle seemed to be under Uchiha Madara's control, slowly following wherever Uchiha Madara attacked. Rather than being trapped within the circle had already predicted Uchiha Madara's movements before he even made a move, further blocking him. Teacher, are you capable of this level of close combat? Xiao Yan couldn't help but ask. Leo looked at the scene before him and shook his head. I haven't seen a Dou Sheng in close combat, so I can't comment. I've only seen Dou Shengs in ranged combat. But compared to a Dou Zun's close combat, his is far superior. I wonder what faction is behind him. Xiao Yan smiled with some delight at this. This was within his expectations. After all, the people of the Dou Qi continent preferred to focus their time honing combat skills on refining their fighting techniques in their Dou Qi realm. At this moment, Xiao Yan, perhaps because he was the only person in the world who knew Uchiha Madara, felt a sense of pride at Leo's recognition of him. Time passed, and Uchiha Madara continued to move around like a phantom, having already killed over 200 snakemen. The 5 snakemen Dou Kings in the sky could no longer sit still. Chapter 19 The 5 Kings of the Snake People. His fighting prowess is terrifying. He's fought for such a long time without a sign of fatigue. We must take action. If this continues, the foundation of our snake people will be irreversibly damaged, said a grey-robed elder. This grey-robed elder had just arrived. His name was Yunchi, and he was a highly respected elder among the snake people, possessing the strength of an 8-star Dou Huang. Upon hearing this, the other 4 snake people Dou Huang nodded, obeying Yunchi's instructions, and flying towards Uchiha Madara. He's very capable in close combat. We can't defeat him one-on-one. Form the 5 snake poison seal, the grey-robed elder commanded again with a solemn expression. He was the first to rapidly form a series of dazzling hand seals with his hands. As these hand seals flew and appeared, a vast, dark green light rapidly condensed in his palms. The moment the grey-robed elder formed the hand seals, the other 4 snake people Dou Huangs followed suit. Clearly, they had practiced the 5 snake poison seals countless times. Upon receiving the command, they could execute the complex seals with incredible speed. A pale blue energy shield enveloped the 5 individuals, their aura steadily rising. Below, Uchiha Madara gazed at the growing power, a flicker of interest in his eyes. The power of this move wasn't enough to impress him, but the technique within it intrigued him. If he was not mistaken, this was a fighting technique driven by the combined power of these 5 individuals, perhaps a more appropriate term for a fusion fighting technique, something unheard of in the ninja world. In the ninja world, only combinations of ninjutsu existed, such as the combined use of Earth Flow Wall to create the powerful 10,000 miles Earth Flow Wall, or the combined Fire and Wind Jutsu where fire borrowed the power of the wind. These didn't involve qualitative change, only the accumulation of quantity or momentum. To achieve a qualitative shift between ninjutsu of different attributes, it was often referred to as a kekkei genkei, not a combined jutsu, and was unrepeatable by ordinary ninja. Now, the 5 snakes poison seal perfectly fused the strength of all 5 individuals, unleashing a new power. The Uchiha fan in Madara's hand spun like a whirlwind, its immense impact instantly unleashing a powerful force around him. In an instant, the entire 5-meter radius around him was completely wiped out. The next moment, Madara leaped onto the roof of a house, his 2 eyes revealing the Scarlet 3 Magatama Sharingan. You finally understand that no matter how many random soldiers come, it's useless. I'll give you a chance. I won't hinder you in this move. Unleash your full power. The more, the better. If you can defeat me, that would be great. If you can't seize this opportunity, there's no point in this Serpent King city existing today. With that, Uchiha Madara stared intently at the 5 Serpent Kings performing the 5 Serpent Poison Seal high in the sky. He pieced together and replicated the seal bit by bit. Soon, the entire structure of the move became clearer and clearer in his vision. The light in his eyes grew brighter as he gained more knowledge. 5 Serpent Poison Seal. Activate. With a low shout from the grey-robed elder, the palms of the 5 Dou Kings suddenly glowed brightly, and 5 massive pillars of dark green energy, several feet in diameter, shot out from their palms. As the dark green energy pillars shot out from the palms of the 5 men, they entwined and intertwined. A moment later, an immense pillar of energy suddenly appeared in the sky. As this massive pillar appeared, a violent wind surged through the desert, and an aura of blood and violence emerged from it. The massive energy pillar began to churn, and in an instant, it transformed into a green energy snake over 10 feet long. Hiss. As the energy snake appeared, a violent wind surged through the desert. Visible wisps of air rapidly swirled around the energy snake, a whistling sound echoing throughout the desert. Interesting. Uchiha Madara also moved the next moment. No one saw exactly when he made his move, but it was known that when they next saw him, he was already standing high in the sky, beside the energy snake. Hiss. The energy snake, upon discovering its target nearby, let out a powerful roar. Its massive tail swung in the air, attempting to slam down on Uchiha Madara and crush him to a pulp. But as soon as Uchiha Madara reached out, the massive tail was firmly clamped, rendering him unable to move. Is that all the strength you have? Uchiha Madara whispered. Despite the significant size difference, Uchiha Madara's tiny body contained far more power than the energy snake. Remember, during the 4th Shinobi World War, Uchiha Madara was able to instantly defeat the 9-tailed beasts with his fists and kicks alone. The energy snake's strength was considerable, but it was still inferior to the tailed beasts. Uchiha Madara glanced at the 5 snake men fighting kings in the sky. This 5-on-1 situation felt familiar to him. It had been a similar 5-on-1 battle between the 5 Kage back then. Suddenly, an idea struck Uchiha Madara's mind, and his 3 Magatama Sharingan transformed into a strangely patterned Mangekyou Sharingan, which then transformed into the Rinnegan, shimmering with purple ripples. The power of the Rinnegan activated, rapidly transferring energy from the green snake, held in Uchiha Madara's hand to him. In the blink of an eye, it shrank from a size of over 10 feet to disappear completely. Ignoring the surprise of the 5 snake men, Uchiha Madara turned to look at them, a faint smile on his face, and formed a shadow clone hand seal. 5 against 1. Chapter 20. This is 5 to 1. Shadow clone technique. Uchiha Madara's hands flew, quickly forming the shadow clone seal. Wood release chakra erupted from his body. 25 wood clones appeared around him, surrounding him. These 25 wood clones carried not only chakra, but also the Dou Qi he had just absorbed from the energy green snake. The next moment, the 25 wood clones attacked together, a surge of Dou Qi erupting from their bodies, and all 25 wood clones were enveloped in a dark green light. The 5 snake men Dou Huangs watched this scene with a wave of shock, staring at each other in bewilderment. This felt so much like the 5 snakes poison seal they had just used. Am I seeing things? Why do I feel like he's using the 5 snakes poison seal? Yumei asked in disbelief. No, I think you're probably right, because I feel the same way, Mobus said with a similar expression. This is a secret technique of our snake people. It's absolutely impossible for it to be passed on to outsiders. Furthermore, the 5 snake poison seal requires the combined power of 5 snake people. Even if he wanted to steal it, there wouldn't be any other snake people to cooperate with him. So there's only one possibility. He mastered it in the short time we just used it, said Elder Yunshi, the most prestigious of the snake people. How is that possible? The 5 snake poison seal is a high-level Zuan level fusion fighting technique. How could anyone master it in such a short time? Yancy questioned. Then tell me, what other possibilities are there? Elder Yunshi glanced at Yancy. Yancy was speechless, unable to find the words to refute Elder Yunshi. It seemed that this was the only possible scenario. Outside the city, Yun's beautiful eyes shifted as she watched Uchiha Madara's attack. Just now, Uchiha Madara had displayed 3 new abilities, or rather, new fighting techniques. The first was the ability to absorb energy. Yun saw clearly that Uchiha Madara simply placed his palm on the green energy snake, and it quickly dissipated, as if it had encountered its natural enemy. If the object being absorbed was Dou Qi, rather than a specific doujing like the 5 snakes poison seal, then this ability would be a powerful counter to all offensive doujing. Other doujing would likely be absorbed before even touching Uchiha Madara. Besides the potential limitations of this absorption ability, which constituted a weakness, Yun struggled to conceive of a good way to counter it. Choosing to engage Uchiha Madara in close combat without using doujing wouldn't necessarily be a concern, but Uchiha Madara's terrifying close combat prowess and physical prowess had already been clearly demonstrated. How many others could rival Uchiha Madara in close combat without using doujing? The second possibility was the ability of physical clones. Yun couldn't discern the differences between the 25 wooden clones that Uchiha Madara had created. Furthermore, these 25 wood clones possessed the ability to act independently, even coordinating to unleash fusion techniques. This was equally terrifying. The mere inability to discern this alone was enough to terrify countless powerful warriors, who would expend immense effort to defeat only one clone. No one could easily accept such a result. The coordinated unleashing of fusion techniques meant that large-scale techniques that once required dozens or even tens of people could now be easily unleashed by Uchiha Madara alone. Fusion techniques represented not only a quantitative increase, but also a qualitative shift. These powerful legion-like fusion techniques were terrifyingly powerful. Thirdly, there was the ability to copy and learn the techniques of others. Regardless of the technique used by others, Uchiha Madara could replicate it. This meant that he could easily discern their moves, understanding their most threatening strengths and their most fatal weaknesses. Yun wondered if there were any limits to Uchiha Madara's ability to copy and learn the techniques of others. The 5 snakes poison seal that Uchiha Madara had copied was only a high-level Zuan level fusion fighting technique. If Uchiha Madara could easily replicate an Earth level or even a Heaven level fighting technique, then the situation would be even more incredible. Yun's expression grew increasingly solemn. She must win over Uchiha Madara. If she couldn't win him over, she couldn't become his enemy. The abilities Uchiha Madara had displayed so far had already made Yun seriously doubt whether Yun Shan, the previous leader of the Yunlan Sect, could defeat him. Yun's surroundings, including Dou Qi, saw much the same thing, and they all understood that Uchiha Madara was a force to be reckoned with. Only Dou Qi, an alchemist, had a second thought. He can use fire attributed fighting ki, and even wood attributed fighting ki. He's a natural alchemist. Atop the wall, Xiao Yan recounted Uchiha Madara's abilities in his mind, as if he knew them all by heart. Hell Shadow Clone. Sharingan. As expected of you, Madara-sama. If only I could possess these abilities. Xiao Yan's eyes gleamed with unquenchable envy. Yao Leo's eyes also gleamed, searching through his past memories for similar abilities, trying to pinpoint the power behind Uchiha Madara. With these absurd abilities simultaneously possessed by one person, Uchiha Madara couldn't be an unknown figure, he must be the heir of some powerful faction. Meanwhile, Uchiha Madara's wood clone had already activated the 5 snakes poison seal. 5 dark cyan energy beams shot skyward, transforming into 5 giant green energy snakes. Facing the 5 Dou Huang of the snake clan, they barked their tongues, their eyes flickering dangerously. 25 of Uchiha Madara's wood clones stood behind the 5 energy snakes. Uchiha Madara's true form stood behind the 25 wood clones, his hands clasped behind his chest, his voice soft and gentle. Since you like 5-on-1, let's do 5-on-1. Each of you is a powerful leader of the snake tribe, and you possess great strength. Don't accuse me of bullying you. The current situation. That's the real 5-on-1. PS. Please vote for recommendation. Please bookmark. Chapter 21 The Ten Tails Restlessness. As soon as Uchiha Madara spoke, 5 giant, dark green energy snakes shot out like arrows, charging towards the 5 snake men Dou Huang. They're tough to deal with. While for some reason, his 5 energy snakes contain less Dou Qi, unlike ours, their strength is already comparable to that of Dou Huang masters. However, these 5 energy snakes have also reached the high star Dou Huang level. In a one-on-one fight, few of us would stand much chance, Yumei said. The 8 leaders of the snake men were all Dou Huangs, but most of them were Dou Huangs below the 7-star level. Aside from Elder Yanshi, who was an 8-star Dou Huang, only one other leader, who hadn't arrived yet, was a high-star Dou Huang of 7 or higher. In a one-on-one fight, they would all be extremely struggling. They've learned our 5 snakes poison seal, and now they're using it against us. This power is ridiculous, the hot-tempered Yansei complained. Let's not discuss this anymore. Let's survive the battle ahead first, said the elder Yanshi. With that, Yanshi took the initiative and engaged the energy snake. He was well aware of the strength of the snake kings beside him, as well as the energy snakes summoned by the 5 snakes poison seal. If he didn't deal with the energy snakes first, then unless the remaining 3 snake tribe leaders arrived, the other snake kings would definitely not be able to defeat the energy snakes in a one-on-one fight. The remaining snake kings, recognizing the situation, also struggled to fight the energy snakes before them. Uchiha Madara's expression remained unchanged as he slashed his palm across the sky. The next moment, 25 wood clones simultaneously unleashed their power, leaping to various locations throughout the city and wreaking havoc. Even these wood clones, possessing only a fraction of Uchiha Madara's power, were no match for ordinary snake people. In that instant, both the snake kings in the sky and the ordinary snake people on the ground faced a life or death crisis. As Yunlan, Dou Qi, Xiao Yan, Yao Leo, and the others were stunned by Uchiha Madara's presence, a hissing sound suddenly emanated from Xiao Yan's sleeve. The young 7-colored sky swallowing python suddenly awakened, its face awash with pain, as if transitioning between 2 personalities. A fleeting ray of terrifying energy rushed towards Uchiha Madara's 25 wooden clones. Teacher, what's wrong with the 7-colored sky swallowing python? Xiao Yan carefully pulled out the cool jade-like snake and held it in his palm, staring intently. The snake had regained its original expression and become docile once again. Yao Leo paused for a moment, then said, the 7-colored sky swallowing python evolved from Queen Medusa, after all. And now, that mysterious and powerful being named Uchiha Madara is slaughtering snake people. I suspect this is why the 7-colored sky swallowing python is in this state. Has it regained Queen Medusa's memories? Xiao Yan asked gravely. Probably not. If her memories were restored, Queen Medusa, with her arrogant nature, wouldn't have stayed with you. I believe Queen Medusa's soul is still severely damaged, but because the snake people are in such dire straits, it's likely that it's been temporarily freed from the 7-colored sky swallowing python's restraints. But judging by the 7-colored sky swallowing python's current state, it seems its soul has been repressed. It's indeed a ticking time bomb. Xiao Yan nodded, then looked at the impact of the seven-colored sky swallowing python's aura. He saw that more than a dozen of Uchiha Madara's wooden clones had been struck by the seven-colored sky swallowing python's aura and dissipated. Teacher, what should we do? Queen Medusa has uncontrollably intervened in the battle. How should we explain this? Xiao Yan asked in a panic. It was understandable that Xiao Yan was panicking. After all, he was facing Madara. Put on a black robe and jump down. Explain to him directly. I think those clones are just random creations. He's a serious man and won't touch you until he obtains the strange fire. As for the powerful snake men Dou Qi, Grand Dou Qi, and Dowling level warriors you'll encounter after jumping down, my soul power is still sufficient to help you deal with them, Yao Leo said in a deep voice. Xiao Yan thought about it and realized that this was the reason. He put on a black robe and jumped down. At this time, Uchiha Madara, seeing that half of his wooden clone had suddenly disappeared, looked back with slight surprise and happened to see Xiao Yan jumping down. What's going on? Uchiha Madara said in a deep voice, his voice very heavy, similar to the voice he used when meeting Shizuru and Obito. This thing in my sleeve is the seven-colored sky swallowing python, an ancient beast evolved from Queen Medusa. Queen Medusa's soul should have been dormant, but just now, perhaps because of the snake men, Queen Medusa suddenly awoke and took control of the seven-colored sky swallowing python to launch an attack. But now Queen Medusa has fallen back asleep and will no longer disturb you, Master Madara, Xiao Yan said. Uchiha Madara's expression remained calm as he carefully examined the seven-colored sky swallowing python before him. He could sense the immense power contained within its body. But upon catching sight of Uchiha Madara, the seven-colored sky swallowing python's face suddenly turned fierce, gazing at him, as if threatening him to stay away. Uchiha Madara touched his stomach. He could sense the tentails agitation within him. It seemed the seven-colored sky swallowing python was truly a beast of the same level. Seven-colored sky swallowing python, huh? That's interesting. I'm tired, so I'll give the snake people one last move. How many people will survive depends on their luck. Uchiha Madara formed seals with his hands and looked toward the towering clouds. His attack would soon come from there. The name of this move. I watched beginning today, all 15 episodes, and it's pretty good. Actually, in addition to writing online novels, the author also writes script killing games. Combining beginning and the original work of beginning, Class A of the third year, and script killing will greatly help the creator grow after understanding these three. It's pretty good. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Heavenly Obstacles and Shocking Star. The attacks unleashed by the seven-colored sky swallowing python annihilated over a dozen of Uchiha Madara's wooden clones, naturally drawing everyone's attention. Everyone searched for the source of these attacks, ultimately seeing Xiao Yan, who leaped high from the wooden wall in a black robe. Seeing Xiao Yan standing beside Uchiha Madara, everyone was baffled. If this black-robed figure was in cahoots with Uchiha Madara, why did he attempt to stop him? If they weren't, then Madara should have immediately intervened. What was going on? Suddenly, the sharp-eyed Furukawa spotted the Azure Lotus thrown in Xiao Yan's hands, and his expression suddenly changed. If I'm not mistaken, that black-robed figure's holding the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire, the target of our quest. I was wondering why this mysterious figure, claiming to be here to seize the strange fire, ended up engaging in a fierce battle with the serpent people. Turns out he had accomplices already rushing in to search for it. Furukawa gritted his teeth. Yun glanced at Dou Qi, realizing he was still plotting against the strange fire. Dou Qi, open your eyes and look at the current situation. Even the 5 serpent men Dou Huang simultaneously unleashing the 5 serpent poison seal couldn't kill him. Instead, he easily neutralized them. Furthermore, he's not taking it seriously right now. He's relying solely on the 5 serpent poison seal he's learned and a few clones to crush the serpent men, nearly forcing them into despair. If he gets serious, the gap between us combined would be enormous. You must face reality, Yun warned. Dou Qi clenched his fists and nodded. He understood the logic. but he simply refused to accept it. But at that moment, Dou Qi suddenly felt the sky darken, and he looked up. He saw a massive meteorite plummet from high above the clouds, plummeting towards the Serpent Men city below. What is this? Could this also be his ability? Dou Qi muttered. Dou Qi's expression was almost dazed. After all, Uchiha Madara's heavenly shock star was truly astonishing. It didn't feel like human power at all, but rather like the power of nature, of the gods. Yunlan's expression was solemn, as she displayed yet another power, one that was practically unstoppable. Yunlan stared at the sky, gazing at the heavenly shocking star. Even if she fully unleashed her Dou Qi, and unleashed her strongest Dou skills, she could only slash a small portion of such a massive meteorite, not completely destroy it. Facing this meteorite, the best thing she could think of was to run. And the farther away from the impact point, the better. A meteorite this massive will create unimaginable impact force upon impact. We must retreat quickly, Yunlan commanded. A gust of wind swept across the earth. Powerful wind attributed Dou Qi surged forth, sweeping Yunlan and the others away, swiftly sweeping them off into the distance. In the sky, the 5 Serpent Man Dou Kings battling in battle watched the falling heavenly shocking star, their hearts filled with uncontrollable despair. Even with Queen Medusa, the pillar of their Serpent Man tribe, still standing, they might not be able to withstand an attack of this magnitude. And now, with Queen Medusa, the pillar of their tribe, missing, their fate was unknown. Elder Yinshi sighed as he gazed at the massive meteorite in the sky. Now the rest of the snake people could only hope for the best. These Dou Huang, the high-ranking leaders of the snake people, had been dragged here by 5 giant energy snakes. If they faced the heavenly obstacle shock star, they wouldn't even be able to save their own lives, let alone spare the energy to help the other snake people resist it. On the ground, countless snake people scattered, desperate for a chance to survive. Xiao Yan, standing beside Uchiha Madara, saw this with a hint of fear, and glanced at him. The heavenly obstacle shock star was immensely powerful, he wasn't sure he could catch it. Master Madara, what should I do? Under the heavenly obstacle shock star, everyone relies on their own abilities. The soul within you should be able to handle this, Uchiha Madara said casually. While the heavenly obstacle shock star was formidable, it was primarily used to eliminate minor enemies. Anyone with sufficient strength could survive on the heavenly obstacle shock star. This level of strength, converted to the Dou Qi realm of the Dou Qi continent, would be around the Dou Huang level. Uchiha Madara looked at the 5 Dou Huang of the Snake Clan, and recalled his previous battles with the 5 Kage in the Ninja Realm. While the Ninja Realm and the Dou Qi continent weren't comparable in strength, the gap between the 5 Kage's performance and that of these 5 Dou Huang was still significant. Whether using Wood Release, or the heavenly damage shock star, the 5 Kage were always able to break through his blockades, unleashing their power again, and surprising him with new surprises. But these 5 Snake Clan Dou Huang were completely powerless to counterattack. If any of the 5 Kage of the Ninja Realm arrived in the Dou Qi continent, they would likely all be at the level of Dou Huang. Especially the junior Inoki, whose character, willpower, and combat experience far surpassed Yunlan, the leader of the Yunlan Sect, whom he had just battled. As for whether they could rival Dou Zhang, Uchiha Madara hadn't fought them yet, so he couldn't say for now. The heavenly damage shock star is about to land. Boy, remember to protect yourself, Uchiha Madara said, and the skeleton of Susanoo enveloped Uchiha Madara's entire body. Then, Uchiha Madara slowly walked out of the city. There were no more powerful individuals here that Madara could find of interest. There's no point staying here any longer, it only adds to the boredom. Better to hurry to the next stop. Resigned, Xiao Yan followed Uchiha Madara's steps out of the city, calling out to Yao Lao. Teacher, I need your help. Yao Lao nodded, and pale flames enveloped Xiao Yan, protecting him. A vast shadow swept across the sky. As Uchiha Madara departed, the sky-shattering star quickly fell. The moment Uchiha Madara left the city, the sky-shattering star crashed completely to the earth, sending a massive shockwave and endless explosions through the Serpent Man capital. But the overwhelming force of the situation didn't distract Uchiha Madara from what was happening behind him. He continued his unconcerned walk out of the city. A true man never looks back at an explosion. Thanks to the big man Bede for the chicken drumstick he gave Madara. Thanks to everyone who voted for the recommendation yesterday. Our book is currently ranked 51st on the light novel contracted authors list and 95th on the light novel overall list. Today, we hope to get into the 50th place for the former and the 90th place for the latter. Please vote for recommendation, and if you can give a few dollars, it would be even more grateful. Chapter 23, Flame of Amaterasu. Given the power of the heavenly aiding star, it goes without saying that the snake people, without Queen Medusa, would be absolutely impossible to stop it. Of course, even with Queen Medusa, the chances of stopping them were slim. The snake people's city was now a shambles. Within the ruins, the current peak strength of the snake people, the 8-star Dou Huang, Elder Yunshi, slowly climbed from the ground. His serpentine eyes, filled with intense hatred, glared at Uchiha Madara, who was approaching the city. Cut the grass at its roots, but not at its roots. Elder Yunshi smiled grimly, vowing that the snake people would avenge this vengeance in the future. Rising from devastation, resurrecting from annihilation, he could sense that Queen Medusa was not truly dead. He believed that one day, after completing her evolution and greatly enhanced in strength, Queen Medusa would return to the Tagor desert and lead the snake people to new heights. However, Uchiha Madara didn't care much for these matters. Whether to root out the grass or not was entirely up to him. If he's still interested, he'll put in a little more effort. If he's not interested, he'll be too lazy to continue. Just like when he faced the 5 cage. After the complete Susanoo slashed all 5 cage into a near-death state with a few strikes, he didn't bother to finish them off. As for the possibility that the snake people or the 7-Colored Sky Swallowing Python, which carries the soul of Queen Medusa, might seek revenge in the future, Uchiha Madara was not afraid at all. Instead, he was looking forward to it. If someone really had the strength to compete with him, the more they came, the better. If someone didn't have the strength to compete with him, no matter how many came, he could just suppress them with a wave of his hand. As Uchiha Madara walked, he noticed the pale flames enveloping Xiao Yan, and asked with interest, "Boy, do you already possess a strange fire within you?" "No, it feels like this. This strange fire belongs to the soul within you, right? After we leave this desert, if that soul is interested in talking to me, I'm also very interested in your strange fire." Uchiha Madara, who had completely mastered Yuntan, could sense that Xiao Leo's soul was more powerful than most cage he had encountered in the ninja world, and far more powerful than Yan, the leader of the Yunlan Sect he had just met. Uchiha Madara also sensed that Xiao Leo's soul was only a fragmented one. For a fragmented soul to possess such power, its identity must be extraordinary, and it likely held a hidden story. These little stories are a wonderful spice in life. Beneath the black robe, Xiao Leo hesitated for a moment, and then a vengeful voice rang out. "Mr. Madara, if you want this bone spirit cold fire within me, I cannot give it to you. My ability to survive as a soul is largely due to the power of the bone spirit cold fire." Uchiha Madara chuckled softly at this. Bone spirit cold fire? That's a good name. It's obviously a flame, but it has a temperature colder than ice. It lives up to its name. Don't be too nervous. I naturally have my own way. For now, let's refine the Azure Lotus Earth Core Fire first, and we can talk about your Bone Spirit Cold Fire later. Besides, I'm more curious about the story behind you than the Bone Spirit Cold Fire. Even in a broken state, you possess soul power comparable to that of a Dou Huang. Then you should have been a well-known strong man in your prime. Then why on earth have you fallen into this situation now? What on earth happened to you? Uchiha Madara asked with interest. Upon hearing this, Xiao Leo smiled dryly. It's just some family scandal. If Mr. Madara wants to hear it, I can tell him about it when we get out of this desert. If Mr. Madara is confident he can refine multiple different fires, then I can devise a solution that satisfies both sides. Refining 3 of these fires will allow me to rebuild my body, though finding the 3rd fire may take some time. Uchiha Madara's expression shifted upon hearing this. The pattern of the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan suddenly appeared in his eyes, and a ball of pitch black flame materialized in his hand. Decades of practice in Yuntan had honed the Mangekyou Sharingan's Jutsu, which was essentially Yuntan. Aside from those linked to time and space like Uchiha Obito's, and unique to Jutsu like Katamatsukumi's, Uchiha Madara could also materialize all other Mangekyou Jutsu using Yuntan. Naturally, this also included the Amaterasu flame, mastered by Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. What do you think of my flame? Can it be considered a strange fire? Uchiha Madara asked. Amaterasu is considered the strongest flame in the ninja world. In Uchiha Madara's opinion, it's comparable to the strange fires of the Dou Qi continent. Leo turned to look at the Amaterasu flame in Uchiha Madara's hand, his eyes filled with uncontrollable astonishment. Mr. Madara, I think your flame is as powerful as any of the top 10 strange fires on the strange fire list, but it's not on the list. How did you obtain it? That's not important. Just tell me if it can be considered a strange fire used to shape your body? Uchiha Madara asked. Yes, this flame is more than strong enough. Combined with the bone spirit cold fire and the blue lotus earth core fire, it can reshape your body. Leo nodded, his eyes filled with unconcealed joy. Wait a minute, you seem to have misunderstood something. Uchiha Madara nodded, after receiving the answer, smiled slightly, and retracted the Amaterasu flame. What did I misunderstand? Leo questioned. You offer your bone spirit cold fire, and I'll offer mine, the flame of Amaterasu. This is a deal. And I'll rebuild your body for you. The price is another matter. You should have quite a few valuables, right? Uchiha Madara asked. Leo chuckled dryly. So direct? Even though they'd only known each other for a few hours, Leo's years of judging people allowed him to sense it. Uchiha Madara was, in a way, a simple man. You give me something, and I give you something. Whenever he acted, he always had a purpose, as if he cared nothing for relationships, only for growing stronger. I also have a Dou Qi technique specifically developed using strange fire, capable of reaching levels comparable to those of heaven level Dou Qi techniques. I wonder if Mr. Madara would be interested? Leo asked. Uchiha Madara's interest piqued. The Uchiha clan loved to play with fire, and he had come to the Dou Qi continent to cultivate a fire-attributed Dou Qi technique. If he was right, this must be the technique practiced by the son of this world. He was determined to obtain this Dou Qi technique. However, Uchiha Madara wasn't in a hurry. He asked, "Old sir, don't just make empty promises. The highest level of cultivation can be developed into a heavenly level technique, but what about the lowest level? You'd better explain the advantages and disadvantages of this technique clearly, so that our deal can continue. What do you think?" Chapter 24, Madara and the Burning Technique. Uchiha Madara had lived for centuries. After all, nothing is new under the sun. While the world may be different, some principles remain constant. All intelligent creatures tend to exaggerate their own strengths when trading. Since there's a maximum growth level, a blind guess suggests there might also be a minimum initial level. Leo chuckled bitterly upon hearing this. Sure enough, Uchiha Madara wasn't as easily fooled as Xiao Yan. This Dou Qi technique is called the Burning Technique. As Mr. Ban mentioned, my technique has certain disadvantages in its early stages, being only at the low level Huang grade. Cultivating Dou Qi can only lead to higher level Dou Qi techniques, not lower ones. Unless one cultivates this technique from the moment they become a Dou Zhe, attempting to cultivate it will only result in dissipating all of their existing Dou Qi. Furthermore, the burning technique can only evolve through the absorption of exotic fire. Other beast fires have minimal impact, and there are only 23 exotic fires on the Dou Qi continent. Refining these fires is incredibly risky, literally, risking one's life. Possessing even one exotic fire is considered a rare talent on the Dou Qi continent, and possessing multiple is even less likely. Leo had said everything he could. They were all shrewd people, and this kind of thing couldn't be fooled. If he had truly deceived Uchiha Madara, things would have been disastrous when he discovered it later. Uchiha Madara nodded slightly, now fully understanding the pros and cons of the burning technique. The low initial level, the inability to retrain at higher levels, the scarcity of exotic fire, and the difficulty of refining it were the 4 major drawbacks to practicing the burning technique. However, these 4 points weren't a problem for Uchiha Madara. First, the low initial level and the inability to retrain at higher levels. Uchiha Madara had just arrived in this world, and had just become a 1-star Dou Zhe through the Dou Qi from that magic core this morning. He had only just begun to learn Dou Qi techniques, so where would he find the time to cultivate other Dou Qi techniques? Therefore, the inability to retrain at higher levels wasn't a problem for him. and despite the low initial level, Uchiha Madara already possessed 3 flames, the Blue Lotus Earth Core Fire, the Bone Spirit Cold Fire, and the Amaterasu Flame. With these 3 flames as a foundation, he expected his burning technique to reach a decent initial level. This was enough for him to face most of the Dou Qi continent, rivaling them in Dou Qi cultivation. As for the scarcity and difficulty of refining exotic fire, it was a pure test of the burning technique's own qualities. Uchiha Madara's confidence was always high. This might stump others, but it certainly wouldn't faze him. The difficulty of refining exotic fire was automatically a given. Madara didn't have the word difficult in his vocabulary. The scarcity of exotic fire was even better for him. Because of its rarity, the status of any known exotic fire owner was also known. He could simply go and negotiate a deal, or simply seize it. Isn't that a simple matter? These 4 drawbacks presented no problem to Uchiha Madara. His choice of the burning technique could be summed up in 2 points. First, it was most likely the cultivation method practiced by the nearby world child, Xiao Yan. The cultivation method practiced by the world child was likely the best in the world. Since Uchiha Madara was cultivating Dou Qi, he wanted the best. Second, the burning technique is fire attributed, and he favors flames. He also practices the burning technique, right? Uchiha Madara asked, clearly referring to Xiao Yan. Madara wanted to confirm whether the burning technique was Xiao Yan's technique. Leo nodded. Seeing this, Uchiha Madara had already formed a conclusion and said, while your burning technique holds great promise, its shortcomings are also quite obvious. Upon hearing this, Leo gave a predictable wry smile. It seemed that the burning technique alone wasn't enough. Leo was about to reveal his identity as an alchemist and offer some elixirs, but Uchiha Madara spoke again. But you've met me, Uchiha Madara. I don't care about the burning technique's shortcomings. No matter what challenges arise, I, Uchiha Madara, have absolute confidence in overcoming them. Add your own story, and the deal is done. What do you think? Uchiha Madara said. Leo showed a look of surprise and smiled. It's my honor to have Mr. Madara help me shape my body. Uchiha Madara nodded and continued walking forward. Xiao Yan, who had been listening in, breathed a sigh of relief. He had been worried that the talks between Uchiha Madara and Leo would break down. If so, they would lose everything. Uchiha Madara could use his Samsara to extract their souls and gain access to all their information. I'm grateful for not killing them, Mr. Madara, Xiao Yan thought to himself. He looked at Uchiha Madara's back, feeling a little hopeful about his cultivation of the burning technique. The Uchiha clan was the most renowned fire-style family in Hokage, and as the clan leader who had led the clan for so long, Uchiha Madara's mastery of fire was undoubtedly far greater than his own. He expected Uchiha Madara to surpass him in his progress in the burning technique very quickly. When that happened, he would no longer be alone in his pursuit of the burning technique. If Uchiha Madara improves the burning technique in the future, he will be the only beneficiary. Madara, where are we going next? Xiao Yan asked, after regaining control of his body. Next, of course, we'll find a place to refine the strange fire, Uchiha Madara said, stopping in his tracks. But before that, we still have to get rid of the sneaky rats. Are you still hiding? Come out now. Chapter 25 Black Robe Figure. 2 groups of people were horrified by Uchiha Madara's words. One group included Koga, Yun, and the others who had been hiding to see if there was still a chance. This was mainly because Koga was unwilling to give up and wanted to stay and see what was happening. Furthermore, they had been watching intently under the shocking sky shock star, not even considering leaving. By the time they realized Uchiha Madara had already left the city, it was too late. Even if they had wanted to flee, Yun felt helpless after hearing this, wondering how to explain it to Uchiha Madara. Upon hearing this, Koga immediately stepped forward, holding a storage ring in hand. He addressed Uchiha Madara, saying, Mr. Madara, I'm Koga, a 6th rank alchemist with considerable experience in alchemy. These bottles contain 5th rank healing elixirs, which can help replenish the energy consumed by Mr. Madara's recent battle. If you don't mind, I would appreciate the opportunity to become your acquaintance. Uchiha Madara glanced at Koga carefully before adding, generally speaking, I, Uchiha Madara, have little interest in associating with the weak. However, while your strength may be limited, you are a formidable figure in alchemy. Uchiha Madara extended his right hand, activating the ability of the myriad element celestial attraction. A moderate gravitational force erupted, and Uchiha Madara absorbed the storage ring from Koga's hand. A subtle perception revealed a world of its own within this small ring. Uchiha Madara was slightly surprised, but remained composed. It bore some resemblance to a sealing scroll, but was far more convenient. Was this the bag used to carry things in this world? I allow you to come to me once, if you encounter any problems in the future. However, do not come to me for opponents of Dou Huang or below. They are too weak to interest me, Uchiha Madara said calmly. Thank you, Mr. Madara, Furukawa smiled. Uchiha Madara was one of the strongest among his acquaintances. Especially after witnessing his devastating slaughter and the devastating descent of the heavenly shock star, Furukawa was delighted to have made his acquaintance. Furukawa, I apologize for the hidden matter. If Mr. Madara needs anything in alchemy from now on, please feel free to come to me. I will do my best to help you, Furukawa said. Your hiding skills are too poor. You can't hide it from me at all. You are not sneaky rats. That sneaky rat is quite good at hiding. It seems no one, including me, has noticed you. Why don't you come out, you sneaky rat? Uchiha Madara's voice echoed across the desert, reverberating far and wide. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan, Yao Leo, Dou Qi, and Yunlan were all startled and looked around. The Tagor desert was now utterly empty, hardly a place where anyone could hide. Furthermore, they certainly hadn't sensed any presence. Still trying to escape. A moment later, Uchiha Madara's eyes darkened completely. With a burst of power from his feet, he launched himself out like a cannonball. Before leaving, Uchiha Madara used Yunlan to leave a message for Xiao Yan. It's getting late. Leave this desert as soon as possible. This rat must be following you. I'll come find you after I've dealt with this little rat that's been following you. Watching Uchiha Madara leave without a word, Xiao Yan looked helplessly at Dou Qi and the others before him. Yunlan was still shrouded in a black robe, so the two of them didn't recognize each other. Sir, may I ask what your relationship is with Mr. Madara? Could you tell me a little about Mr. Madara's background? After Uchiha Madara left, Dou Qi looked at Xiao Yan, still shrouded in black robes. Teacher, I'm counting on you, Xiao Yan said. Yao Leo nodded, and then a vengeful voice emanated from beneath his black robe. Young man, curiosity isn't the right thing to do in places like this. Ruthlessly exploring secret information could cost you your life. Hearing this old voice, Dou Qi's expression changed. Old sir, would you like to join us for a while? We can guarantee your safety. No need. I'm used to freedom. You can just go your own way. This small Tagor desert is more than enough for me to handle, even if I encounter Queen Medusa. See you again someday. Yao Leo's voice continued, and then he leaped away into the distance, leaving Dou Qi staring into the darkening sky. That black-robed man left at a great speed, probably even faster than you, who specializes in wind attributed Dou Qi. He seems to be no ordinary person. As expected, anyone who stands beside this Uchiha Madara is no ordinary person either. Dou Qi narrowed his eyes slightly, and spoke to Yunlan beside him. Yunlan nodded. This strange fire is indeed a very precious item in the Dou Qi continent. While we may be a dominant force in the Jama Empire, our strength is still far too weak compared to the entire Dou Qi continent. But being able to meet this extremely skilled warrior and forge a good relationship with him isn't such a bad thing. Let's go. It's time to go back. Furukawa and the others nodded, and flew out of the Tagor desert. Meanwhile, a shadow on the sand in the Tagor desert began to move strangely. After a moment, it solidified into a humanoid figure. The figure, also shrouded in black robes, gazed from behind at Uchiha Madara, who had just flown past. Raising his head slightly, he revealed a dark, aged face. That was a close call. The black-robed figure exhaled softly. That powerful being named Uchiha Madara is surprisingly perceptive. I've used my cultivation techniques to suppress my aura, but he still sensed it, and I couldn't even fathom his true strength. It's truly terrifying. When did the Jama Empire possess such a powerful being? That kid, Xiao Yan, managed to obtain the strange fire without incident. While he was lucky, it's still far from perfect. And how much can he ultimately achieve if he keeps wandering around in a small place like the Jama Empire? Young man, the gap between you and the young lady will only widen. Do you really think the daughter of my ancient clan leader is so easy to pursue? After sighing a few times, the black-robed figure shook his head and said, forget it. The boy will be leaving for the Yunlan Sect soon. Once I'm done with this, I can return to protect the young lady. Stretching his arms and twisting his body, the black-robed figure gradually blurred, about to disappear into the darkness again. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. I said, are you just leaving like this? Do you want to leave without my permission? PS. A new day, please vote for me. Please vote for me. Thank you to all the big guys who gave me tips. Fortunately, I looked back at the outline. Otherwise, I would have almost forgotten about Ling Ying, the invisible man. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.